I can barely hear you, homie.
Well, cause I'm. Can you hear me now?
Jesus Christ. Kenzie's like, what the fuck?
Anyways, I think we're alive. You're alive. We are.
Holy fucking shit.
Hold up. I got a bunch of shit. Hold up. I'm gonna put a starting soon screen. I'm not ready yet. people. Whoa. What's up? Now, unmute. There we go. Oh, wait. I think my mic was on the whole time.
It
Anyways.
was.
Well, you could have said something.
It's okay. I had it muted, but like
Oh.
I don't know.
So, anyways, we are back with the Will and Trent show. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. And also, for the first time, you can actually see William. Oh, not anymore, though. Not anymore. Just decided not. Okay, there we go. Um, yeah, you could actually see him.
Hello.
So we are doing a lot of things. This is one, we have a new schedule, and two, we have a lot to talk about today. So, yeah, for now on, we're gonna be doing the Will and Trent show on every Thursday, just because it works out timing wise for both of us. And yeah, so. We both have a top 100 list. Mine is more put together because his computer kept dying. So, or yeah, literally dying. So, um, yeah, I guess let's actually just get through the new releases first because I feel like that'll be quicker. Because it is a new
Uh,
year, so might as well start out with the new stuff. And right off the gate, on the first day of the year, Marar decided, you know what, we're gonna drop a whole album, and it was really fucking sick, as always. Like
it
their
really
shit,
was. Yeah.
like they are the future of modern metal, and I am here for it.
They represent the future. I don't think they are the future,
Yeah,
but they represent the future.
I mean
Because
they're
like
already,
Thal is making some like the Thal style, Thal genre, whatever you want to call it, is really making its way into metalcore and deathcore. It has been for a couple years now, and this is a perfect representation of it. My album of the year last year was a Thal album, so like
yeah,
so
yeah. Um, and also like
very good album.
I heard that that Marar is actually writing some stuff with Buster Oldham Hall, which is pretty sick.
Mm,
For the new Voljarta stuff, which hopefully we'll get that this year.
yeah, right.
That'd be fucking sick. But yeah, that was the first release of the year, and then the next release, which I can't like tell if I like this album or not, cause like it's alright, but it's kind of cringe. It's the new Paleface album, and like it has its moments where it's cool, but it has a lot of cringe too. Like especially like enough. Wait, no, not enough. What one was it? Yeah, I think it was enough. It was like really
Mhm.
cringe. It was like a diss track, and I was like, I don't think this works. Brother,
Mhm.
brother, ooh. No
Yeah,
disrespect.
I don't
Hey,
know.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can't talk shit about Paleface because the bassist was like looking at my stories on Instagram. So shout out to
It
you. But either way, I'm still gonna be honest. I didn't like it. I'm sure.
wasn't. I'm not a big fan of tough guy metal either.
I mean, yeah, there are some songs on there that I do like "Can't Stop." That one was pretty cool. Wait, actually, is that what it was called?
Don't you ever stop.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool. I've been listening to like their older stuff, so I do like Paleface, but I just not a fan on that song or that album.
That's fair. One that I
And
really want to talk about is a new Dark Watch track.
I was actually
Uh,
about to say that.
so those who don't know who Dark Watch is, that is Austin Dickey's deathcore project, and it's very sick. It's progressive deathcore, man. I enjoy it. I'm not a fan of deathcore, but of course, when it's creative and it's not the same as like the norm, then I'm gonna enjoy it, and I did. I'm pretty sure they're working on something new, hopefully an album instead of an EP, but that'd be sick. But yeah,
Um, and I actually, I wish we actually did the idea that I had originally, because I was gonna say we could start doing these on like the first Thursday of the year, which would I mean month. God, first Thursday of the month, because then we could cover all the new releases from the past month, like this month. Because like a lot of the times new releases come out on Friday, so we end up missing a lot of them. So, but I think it's fine how it is. Cause yeah. Anyways,
Right.
but I was gonna say if we were, I could talk about the big announcement that I'm not, I haven't gone public about, but yeah. Stay tuned, friends, to the Destined for Doom. Yeah, go follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, because you don't want to miss the shit that's coming soon for Destined for 2025. We're taking anyways.
I'll go on about my project in a bit.
Yeah.
But
Anyways, speaking of people that we're friends with, project Enslaved Angel dropped a new song. It was pretty cool. I definitely think that his production is getting a lot better because I remember a few years ago, like, not gonna lie, like, I didn't really like it. I'm just gonna be honest. Sorry if he watches this and gets pissed. I'm sorry. Didn't like it. But hey, you shit on my music too, so you know what? Fuck you. Your
that's
music
fine.
sucks
Yeah.
too. Just kidding. No, it doesn't suck.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I like the song. It sounds a lot better produced, and yeah, I kind of noticed he did a similar thing that I did with Destined for Doom. He like deleted all his back catalog and like is starting fresh. So that's pretty cool.
We already talked about the Marara album. Oh yeah, another one. Our friend Nikita dropped a
Yeah,
new track this month. It's called Abomination featuring Travis Searles of Empirical Solstice, one of my friends from West Virginia. Um, check it out if you haven't already. I ain't gonna talk about it too much. You can find that out yourself. It's
who
for the
the
new album Multiverse. That's just coming hopefully this year. But yeah.
who the hell is that? That band sucks. That guy sucks. Just kidding.
That guy suck.
I bet there's this shitty fucking deathcore vocalist on that album too.
I
Anyways,
wonder who it is. Think I
I
have
don't know.
an idea.
Anyways, speaking of progressive metal bands, On Process dropped a song that I didn't listen to because I completely forgot.
Damn, bro. It's pretty solid. It's
Wait,
it has a similar sound to and everything in between. So
yeah,
like I don't know if they're dropping like a deluxe of it or if it's like that's just the sound they're gonna go with. I don't know. Not complaining, it's a unique sound, of course, but you know, yeah, I don't know. It didn't sound much different from it and everything in between. So that leads me to believe that we're getting a deluxe or something.
yeah.
But
But yeah, I did not check it out, so I don't have an opinion on it. I also didn't check the next. Wait,
pretty solid.
did I check out Ads
As
Beans?
being, is
I don't remember if I did.
there another progress core project?
I think I did, but I can't remember enough to comment on it. Um.
The answer is nine 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 nine
Oh
nine
yeah,
nine 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 nine.
I did. Yep. Okay, now I can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that breakdown's off.
that was a really unique breakdown. Yeah, I like that.
As
Also,
Beings is one of those bands where they're from New Jersey. You're checking them out.
oh yeah, and then this band is actually a local band. Well, technically local. This band is Great American Ghost, who is dropping a new album tomorrow. I the song though that is in the playlist is Echoes of War. I think it was pretty cool. I still think the best song on this uh from the singles is either Hymns of Decay or Forsaken. Those songs are super catchy. And it's so weird because I remember like in 2022 when I first discovered Great American Ghost, they were like a hardcore band, and now they're like kind of like Boundaries, where like they're like that melodic
Yeah.
metalcore with hardcore in it. Um, but yeah, it was a pretty sick single, and I'm actually really excited to check out the album because Kingmaker, which is I mean not Kingmaker. Well, Kingmaker was one of the tracks on it, but Torture World, which was the EP before this, I really liked that EP, and that's what got me into Great American Ghost. And honestly, without that band, I probably would not have the opportunities that I have today because I ended up going to one of their shows and then I met up with this fucking goofball named Bryce and then he told me to join his band and I made a lot of connections. Even though I'm not in that band anymore, I'm still pretty grateful for all the connections I made. Yeah.
My opinion on the track, I do agree with you. It's pretty cool how they've evolved,
Yeah.
over the years. Because like when I first found them out, oddly enough, was on the Dickie Dine show.
Yeah.
Austin Dickey and Jared Dines. They were going through some bands that you may not have heard of or something like that. And one of the bands that came
Yeah.
up was Great American Ghost. Wasn't my style. I was told recently, I think it was by you, to check them out because their sound had changed, and
Yeah.
maybe I could get into it because I'm not a big hardcore guy.
Yeah.
I mean, hardcore is fun depending on how you do it, I guess, but whatever. But I actually do really dig the new songs. And I think I do agree. I think Forsaken is the best single, but I might have to go back and listen to them again to actually have a fair opinion on that. But this track's really good. It actually does have me kind of excited for the album, and I do agree with your take on them kind of being like boundaries in that aspect. Changing the sound a little bit, but not falling away too much from what they are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So,
Which is also funny because like them and Boundaries used to play a bunch of local shows around this area, so it's crazy also to see how big they've gotten.
and look at boundaries, man. I'm not like I said, I'm not a hardcore guy, but they took number 2 on my album the year last year.
Yeah.
So
I think they also took number 2 for album of the year for me
they
and
took
then
number 2 for a lot of people, which sucks, man. 'Cause I'm like, somebody give them number 1. Come on now,
well
somebody's got to give them number 1.
probably because a lot of people gave Alt number 1 or something or Knocked
Yeah,
Loose.
the main album I saw was
Yeah.
Bring Me the Horizon or Darko.
That was
Darko was really
surprising.
good though.
Yeah.
I'm really kind of upset at myself for not putting Darko in my top 5 because I listened to that album again and now I'm like, damn, this album actually is really good. What the fuck?
My favorite
Okay,
album from them is still probably Oni.
I think this one's it for me because the production's the best out of the 3. I think.
And actually, speaking of Darko, they're coming out with Death Mask 3. Uh, actually this month. Well, next month, but basically.
Yeah,
So yeah,
cannot wait. That's gonna be huge.
yeah. They always nail it with the EPs. Like I love their albums, but their EPs are just for some reason way better.
I feel like Starfire was kind of like that bridge in between, even though it was 19 songs. It
Yeah,
was like that bridge in between, kind of,
yeah,
where they have that album sound, but they also kind of bring out the creativity that they bring from the EPs.
yeah,
So, like, in that aspect, I'm kind of partial,
yeah,
but this is the first, that Starfire, I think, was the first Darko album that I actually enjoyed from front to back, which is crazy because it's 19 songs, and I'm always critical about having too much songs in an
yeah,
album. I'm always critical about that. That's why I didn't like I Prevail's True Power. I got bored because it was too many
yeah,
songs.
yeah.
You
Same.
know, I get bored easily with them. 10 songs between 10 and 12 is the max for me.
And then you listen to a 1 hour album.
I'm fine with that as long as a band can make the long songs worthwhile the entire way. It doesn't get boring. It doesn't feel stretched out. Periphery, I've always brought up the example. Periphery is an example of that.
Yeah, Periphery.
Between the Buried and Me.
Even though I've more been I like Periphery a lot more. But
I
anyways,
mean, they're really. I hope they bring something out this year or next year. That'd be sick.
next on the list is a song that I already know you don't like. I already know you don't like because it's Whitechapel with Hymns of Dissonance, and I
It's
think
better than the last one.
yeah, I'll say that too because this song is fucking evil. Especially if you watch the YouTube video, they have the intro track that's gonna be the intro for the album, and it's just fucking evil. That's all I can say. Evil.
I do appreciate that it is kind of going back to that classic deathcore rather than just sticking to the new shit. Because, like, I do wish he'd jump away from the gymnastics a little bit. That'd be sick. But I don't like vocal gymnastics, man.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
I
just
know.
like, bro, if you can do
I,
it, then great. It was
that's
creative
why
at first, but now everyone's doing
that's why I
it.
made that meme, even though it was kind of also shit posting because a lot of bands that I like do vocal jump.
I was about to
That
say,
was
you're a
how
fan of. You literally wore Signs of the Swarm shirt
I
in that
know,
fucking video. Shut the fuck up.
and people got pissed off. I am sick of it, but like I'm sick of when bands actually like entirely rip off to the Hellfire. Like I love Amongst
That's
the
fair.
Low and Empty, but that breakdown is literally a rip off of
Mhm.
to the Hellfire. And then
Yep.
that song that I put in the meme, Nether Walker or whatever, they literally had a part where he did the snarl and I was like, bro, alright, Lorna. And then yeah. And then the next song is a song that kind of grew on me because at first I was not a fan of it, but it actually grew a lot on me. It is Black Hole by Architects. I feel
Mhm.
like it still feels like they're forcing themselves to be heavy. Like it does not feel
Yes.
like Architects. It feels like I don't, you know that episode of SpongeBob where like he has the Krabby Patties that are like synthetic.
Mhm.
That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like fake architects. Like it's not real architects. So like
I do hope we. Sorry, go ahead.
I like Sam Carter's vocals and like I like the I this one had the solo, right? Or was that the last one?
Yeah, this one had a solo.
Yeah, I like that because I don't. They never really do guitar solos, so that was really cool to hear them do something different. And this one was probably their heaviest single on this rollout. I really like the drum patterns a lot too,
Mhm.
especially on the beginning. Like had those fucking rapid triplets, and I was just like, that shit's fire.
Mhm. See, with me, I'm just like, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's like, as a big fan of Architects between 2012 and 2018, that stretch is untouchable,
Yeah,
so it's like,
and
when
they went.
thinking of that and how they used to be, I'm just like, this isn't what I want. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, I want I don't care if Sam sings through the whole song and never screams again. I don't care. I want that instrumental is what I want personally. That being said, the positives of Black Hole, which I did enjoy, are I'm not even gonna say the production because it feels
yeah.
overdone.
Well, I mean, it's
You know what I'm
Jordan
saying?
Fish. It's Jordan Fish.
Exactly. There you go. But Sam's vocals are probably some of the best we've ever heard.
Yeah,
So like, there's that. Like I think Sam's really bringing it out. One thing I did not like on this track though is the chorus, and the reason why it feels like the chorus is forced.
yeah.
It feels like he's trying to force that chorus out. Whereas, if I'm hearing a heavy song, I don't care if we have all screams on a track. I really don't. That's my main issue with a lot of metalcore bands, like that are more mainstream, is they'll either force
I
a
prevail.
chorus. I prevail not really. I don't feel that way
Sometimes.
with I prevail.
Some
I
songs.
mean, sometimes, yeah, but like not as much with them. But like, hear me out. Um, they'll either force a chorus onto a heavy track,
Yep.
or they will force a heavy breakdown on a soft track. The one band I'm most critical about with this is Wage War,
Yeah.
because Magnetic did not need a breakdown. Has one of the heaviest ones of the album.
Yeah.
Blur, Blur. You say what you want about Blur, but I actually think that breakdown fits the track.
I
I do.
hate that song. I fucking hate
I
that.
I don't like it either, but I feel like that breakdown actually does fit the track. That's one of the only instances where I will say that.
I hate that chorus fucking much. It
I
literally
hate it
reminds
too.
me of Katy Perry. I don't know
I
why.
mean, I mean, if you really think about it, there's a couple. I mean, Wage War is notorious for having choruses that sound the exact same. So like, I mean, it's rest in peace.
Anyways, the next we got Avrilives, which I th- I can't remember if listened to this. I think I did because I think I watched Bogdan react to it, but I didn't actually listen to it. I don't really remember.
It's it's very overdose esque, except it's shorter. It's not 5 minutes.
It feels like
It's
there's
got
just
the
way too much music nowadays because sometimes it's like there's so many bands to check out and then like fans just get suffocated 'cause there's so
That's
many.
facts. That's facts. There's a few at the towards the end of our list here for
I
what
don't
came
even.
out that I have not listened to.
Uh, Next we got the new Enterprise Earth song, which is actually part of the EP that I haven't checked. I don't think either one
It's
of us.
also released this month,
Yeah,
so
but
I did listen to this track. I didn't dig it, but
we'll talk about the EP next month. But yeah,
I've already put the EP in
yeah. I think it
the
was
list. So.
I think it was pretty good. I just think I it just like it's hard because like you have the album so fucking good as The Chosen, and then you release this stuff like it's just like hard to come back from. So hard. It's like releasing, um, like I don't know, Kill Switch Engage. They release As Daylight Dies, and then they release that self-titled album. And it was not good. It was just like, damn, how can you go from writing like such amazing music? And like, don't get me wrong, the new stuff is still pretty good, but like, it's just like, I don't know. Like it's like it's on another. Literally, Metalbird put Overpass in his top 10 like masterpiece songs, which I agree that song is fucking amazing. Like say what you will about the feature, but I think it's pretty fucking cool. So yeah, and one thing I do actually like about Matt Honeycutt is that his vocals are very distinguishable. You know it's him.
You want to open this pit? Give me a hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
But I can't get over when you said that he sounded like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I can't get over that. I hope he
Anyway.
sees this and is like, "Well, damn."
Well, hell yeah, brother. I do
Well, hell
sound
yeah,
like
brother.
Stone Cold. Oh yes, we gotta talk about Royal Rumble predictions later, but because that's actually on Saturday. Forgot about
Bad dude.
that. Anyways, the next uh song on the list is actually a local band as well. A band called Rat Blood. They dropped a new song called Fracture, and it was pretty sick. I really like the production on this. It sounds really good. Like it sounds like because a lot of their stuff like I like it, but like the production like was lacking. So I feel like this is a step in the right direction. And yeah, I like those guys a lot. And I actually think we played a show together last year. That's pretty.
I didn't check it out. Sadly, like you said earlier. There's some instances where there's so much music that you can't really. It's not possible to check it out, bro.
Oh yeah, and I
You know what
forgot
I'm saying?
about my own release. I dropped a single for my trap metal project. Just trying, but with the crossed out X. But anyways, yeah. This song is self-produced. And yeah, I feel pretty happy about it, especially compared to the other stuff. I feel like one thing that helped a lot is that my screaming has gotten a lot better.
I agree.
Because before I didn't really didn't really scream. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great either. But
I agree.
anyway,
And I thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to experiment with and possibly even like. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's. I gotta go deal with something real quick.
I will talk about the next song, which
All right,
not
sorry.
not enough. All listens, and this song was pretty cool. I liked it a little bit more than Primitive. One because it was less memey and more serious. It was catchy, and I liked it. It also helps that one of my vocal singer I don't know space, so I'm kind of biased in that aspect. So, but I really did genuinely like it. So
Hmm. I agree. It's a pretty solid track. Whatever they got going on.
it's
I think one
crazy.
more good single will bring it on my radar. You know what I'm saying?
They don't have an album yet. I think these last two songs though are gonna be part of an album, but like that's crazy. I went through their catalog. They just have a bunch of singles and an EP, so I feel like that's probably the move. You know, as much as it sucks, I hate doing that. I really like albums and EPs, but fuck, starting out like you gotta fucking do it sucks. So
I agree.
anyway, anyways, next is Find the Sacrifice. Um I think I listened to it.
I'm
I don't.
really surprised they dropped something because I thought they broke up.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard anything from them in a while. They're like a genty prog deathcore group.
I don't have much to say about it, but I think it was
They have an album coming out.
so sick.
Yep. In 28 days, they're dropping an album.
Oh hell yeah!
And it's called The World is of Blood. And it drops on February 28th.
Probably not be able to talk about that until
Probably not.
March.
Actually, actually, hold on.
Same thing with Architects that comes out that day
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Fuck.
on a
Hold on, let me look
Friday.
at. Yeah, it comes on Friday. Fuck. Damn.
So, anyways, next song is once again by Enslaved Angel, and I think it was also solid. Same thing as like
Mhm.
that's the thing like I don't really have much to say because the style that he does isn't really my thing. It's like tech. I don't know if it's tech death. Like I don't even know. Definitely
I've
death.
always viewed it as I've always viewed it as like a mix of um, tech death,
Slam.
hardcore, and slam. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really
I've
like
always thought
slam.
of it as a mix of that.
The only band that I like that's slam. Well, two bands that I like is Killing Flesh and I think it was Sugapog.
See, Max, if you watch this, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always thought of it as a mix of tech death, hardcore, and slam. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. It's
But
cool. But
anyways, these two bands decided to surprise the whole entire metalcore world by collaborating together and dropping a fucking banger. Invent Anime and Silent Planet dropped Return to One, and they're dropping a split EP, collaboration EP in March. And
I'll
I'm actually
bloom in heaven.
I'm actually really happy about it because I'm not the biggest fan of Invent Anime, but I love Silent Planet, so this is like kind of the way to like make me more of a fan of them.
Brother, dead ass. These are my two favorite bands, bro. So like, you have no idea how excited I am for this. Like, so because Invent Animate dropped Heavener, which I still stand is the best album of the decade so far, and of course, Silent Planet's dropped two bangers in the 2020s as well. Same as Invent Animate, but I'm
Well,
talking like Iridescent and Super Bloom back to back were incredible.
I would
So
say
like,
that Iridescent is my favorite album.
I think Iridescent's my number four of the decade. I think since we're halfway through the decade, at some point this year we need to do like a halfway through the decade top 10 albums
Yeah.
at some point
What? Actually,
because
I think whatever album is in my top, like whatever album in this decade is the highest will be my album of the decade, which might not be what I just said.
possibly. I mean, unless Invent Animate outdoes theirself, like they get past Heavener, which I don't think they will. I think their next album's gonna be a drop off. It has to be. I mean, I don't know how much better you get after Heavener. I don't know how much better you get. Unless they go back to the Graveview style, which I really enjoyed that style, but the problem is there wasn't much structure behind it,
I was
you know?
confused. I was confused because I was looking on Spotify and it was Angel Killers, but I forgot they're releasing a deluxe edition month and also oh wait actually no March, but anyways they just dropped a new music video for Clickbait and it was cool. Like I don't that song's a banger. I love that song. So but there's not really much to say new about it because it's just a new music video. I definitely think they're very underrated though, and they should like have a lot more
Definitely.
traction than they do, especially for a band with such a unique. Because not many bands are doing what they're doing.
Mhm.
I cannot. I
Yeah, I'm
cannot.
surprised they don't have many listeners. I'm
Yeah, cause
surprised
I cannot name one band that sounds.
because if you remember, oh excuse me, if you remember, Metal Burb literally said that they were on pace to take over the scene. This was back in 2020,
Yeah,
and
yeah. When they dropped
since then they
fucking
haven't. DX, yeah, the
dude,
DCX2 or
that
whatever the
EP
fuck it
was
was.
amazing. I
Yeah,
love that.
Enigma is my favorite track by them.
Yeah, that
Enigma is incredible, but
actually looking looking at my list, they're pretty fucking high up in my top. They're on my top 100 list, and they're pretty high up. Like I'm kind of surprised I put them as high as I did. I don't know if that was an accident or not, but I really do like that album. Actually, I think it was like in my top three, so it would
I
make
think they
sense.
barely broke. I think they barely broke my top 100, but it's because our style, our favorite styles vary very much.
Yeah. Also, there's a
Like
lot of recency bias on this list. Is what you're gonna see a lot. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Why the fuck is Iridescent? I'm fixing my list right now because some albums I kind of just threw in there and didn't really move. Anyways, what's the next song on the
what's
list?
up, Nikita? What's up, brother?
Brother, what's up, brother?
Let me
Fairies.
tell you something, brother.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Psycho Frame dropped two. Dun 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 dun. Two new
Oh.
songs, and they also just got signed to Sharp Tone Records, and
Did they actually?
yeah. I
Shit,
think
I
I
didn't see
think
that. I
they're
didn't
gonna
know.
take over the fucking deathcore scene because they kind of capture that they're the best MySpace deathcore band like revival in my opinion because there's a lot like I like all the MySpace deathcore revival bands but like I don't know for some reason like they like nail it perfectly. Um, they're just insane. Also, I've seen them live, but I have also seen a few other MySpace deathcore revival bands, and I don't know. It's just like they're insane. They're insane.
Their energy is definitely worth noting. I don't personally fuck with it, but their energy is definitely very, very like if I would definitely go to a show of theirs because of their
Yeah,
energy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like I may not like the music too much, but
Anyways, the next song on the list is an OG band, a band that actually got me into metalcore. It's Kill Switch Engage with their song
Mhm.
"I Believe in Joe Hendry." Pe- People got so mad who didn't know the reference, and I was like, "You don't believe in Joe?" I liked the song; it was pretty good, but again, like I'm not gonna be one of those people because actually really do love Jesse Leach's vocals, and I think they're good. But obviously, even he knows it that Howard Jones is the goat. But I do, I think this is it feels similar to what they did on Atonement. I don't know how to say that.
Atonement.
Yeah. Um, because they released Unleashed on that, and then they released another song which was softer, which is kind of what they did here. 'Cause the last song was heavier, and then melodic. So definitely a similar release.
Call me crazy, but I haven't enjoyed the production on either track. I don't
I
know.
think it was soft.
I don't know. I haven't enjoyed the production too much. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just not connecting with me. I love Kill Switch. I'm not saying the tracks are bad by any means. Don't hold the firing squad. I'm not. That's not bad.
Kill
I'm
the
just saying, like, I'm just
kill
saying. I don't
John
know.
Lennon.
I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
this
wait, that just
production on
reminded me
these
of a
aren't
song.
exactly that
Okay,
incredible.
wait, I was gonna say that reminds me of something that I didn't remember if I put it on the list, but I did. Okay. Anyways, moving on, we got Landmarks with a new song featuring While She Sleeps called "A Line in the Dust," and I think is actually part of a new album coming up. But I really enjoyed the song. I actually have not enjoyed a Landmark song, which people are gonna probably hate me for this, since Lost in the Wave, because that song, I got hooked on it, and then like I don't know, I just never really got connected with. But yeah, their new album is coming out April 25th, so I'm actually really excited because I actually really did enjoy it. And I actually
Mm,
did see them live, so I'm excited to say hello.
mm. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I, I,
Uh,
I mean, there's not much more I can say really.
the next song is actually by my music teacher, my guitar teacher's band. He's gonna hate me because I didn't listen to it. I'm sorry. I added it to the playlist, and I was like, okay, I'll listen to it later, and then something else. So yeah, I'm sorry. I will listen to it after. But
The
yeah,
next one's one I was very
check
excited.
check out Mammoth here because the guitars mean.
Mhm.
August Burns Red released their album.
Their debut album, yes
Yep,
sir.
yeah, and they actually have a feature from the guitarist of Killswitch Engage, which is
As
Adam.
well as the original vocalist of the band.
I actually really like this real. I never actually checked out this first album. My favorite album, I don't give a fuck, is Messengers. I actually think it's in my top 10. I'm not sure, but also really high up on that list is also. But like those are my two. And
I mean, it's respectable.
yeah, I didn't never got crazy, but like I do like them. Like they just
Mm.
never for a band that like I kept checking.
I would personally put Thrill Seeker over Messengers.
Well,
Probably a
I
hot take, but
I love the fucking China.
the the China, the China.
Like I want to know how many Chinas he went through on that fucking album because it sounds like he was murdering. I can't wait for a
China.
remaster of that album.
There is a remaster out, bro.
Oh,
They
so
dropped it in 2018. Yes, there's a remaster of that album and Constellations
they'll
and
probably.
Leveler, which honestly I don't think they should have done Leveler. Leveler
I,
was good on its own.
I think they'll remaster. So that'll be. I don't know why they did.
I think they're done with remasters though, because like I don't
I
see
hope
how you remaster Rescue and Restore.
I hope they play that whole album back, even though I have to wait till 2018. Probably. I mean, not 28 for them to messengers. Wait, did it come out in 2000?
2027.
Okay,
It
yeah,
came
no,
out in 2007.
okay. I couldn't remember if it was
They just released the remaster in 2008 because
18.
yeah, 2018, whatever.
Anyways, um, next song is by Electric Callboy. It's Elevator Operator. I did not like this. I don't care.
I didn't check it out.
It was.
I didn't check it out.
I like Electric Corny. I mean, Electric
Electric
Corny.
Corny.
Electric Callboy, and
Electric Corn Boy.
I think this song was super.
Electric Corn Boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked Baby Metal a lot more. Ratatat. Uh, next song is by Barry Tomorrow. I didn't check it out. Check-
I did. It was fun. It was solid.
oh, I actually no. I saw Bogdan react to it. It was cool, but I'm not the biggest Barry Tomorrow fan. Don't really.
Nikita said that Phantom Anthem is the best ABR album. Very valid choice. Very valid
Nope.
choice.
Completion. I will not.
It's valid though. I personally found in Faraway Places is my favorite, but
Anyways, we have another band that got signed, and I'm actually really scared that who they got signed by. It is Faith to Yourself. They got signed by Sumerian Records, and we all know how Sumerian Records.
ooh,
Yeah. But anyways, I really
oof.
liked this song. They still
Yeah.
can. They actually recorded it with the legendary Joey Sturgis. So that explains why the fucking guitar sound is amazing. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're a really sick band. I was actually gonna get them to be on a song, but I ended up getting some. So more on that later. Anyways, but yeah, I really like this song. I think this is actually their best song besides Shadow Self. Because that one's as well as Die for Love. But yeah, I think this is another band now that they're signed, especially signed by Sumerian. This band's gonna blow the fuck up. Band's gonna They're gonna be probably the next
We'll see.
Signs of the Swarm. That big, maybe
We'll see.
bigger.
We'll
Especially
see because we'll
it's a
see because Sumerian's a little
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, next, nobody fucking expected Bring Me the Horizon to cover fucking Wonderwall. I was like, what the fuck? And I don't care. It's fucking awesome. I did not think there was a way to make the song a emo pop punk banger, and somehow Bring Me the Horizon did it. They stayed true to the original in the intro and like some of the verses, and then they just made it pop punky. Now somebody's got to cover Smoke on the Water. It's gonna be very smoke on the water.
I didn't fuck with it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'll try.
fuck you. No, fuck you.
Fuck you. Can't go too loud because it's getting late. Anyway,
Anyways, oh yeah, and then next is the songs that I did.
song. I accidentally put all three on there. It's actually Storm Ablaze. It's Aviana. I can't really say much more. I say the same thing all the time. It's solid, and I can't wait for the album. I mean, yeah,
And
I heavy ambient,
now
fun as
that
fuck.
that's out of the way, we're gonna go over our top 100 albums. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to?
You can definitely go first, please.
Okay. I did not make a list for this, so I actually have to like click on. Oops, sorry. I just chugged water. Um. Anyways, starting at number 100 is a band that actually kind of is part of my childhood. Actually, a few like the first three albums on here are part of my childhood. This album is by a band I don't really actually ever talk about that much, and they are also like an emo pop punk band that I'm actually surprised they're even still around. Like I kind of forgot, I thought they just disappeared or broke up or something, but it is Good Charlotte with the Young and Hope. Um, yeah, this album for me, is an album I honestly keep forgetting about in my childhood because, like, once again, they're not a band that I constantly check out and like go back and listen to, but like they're a band that I do remember actually enjoying a lot. As well as like Green Day and Blink 182, because I think I actually started out of pop punk and emo music first before I got into Linkin Park and Slipknot, and then I got into Killswitch Engage, and then they ruined my life and made me a fucking core kid for life. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think this album is really good. My favorite songs on this is the anthem, "Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous," "Boys and Girls," and yeah, this song is really good, and not a lot of people ever talk about it. Yeah, I know. I know this show sucks, Johnny. It's because I'm on it. You should cover a living La Vida Loca. Okay, I will. Um. Anyways, go check out Voluntary Victims. They're fucking awesome. Actually, they actually had a tour starting off this year with Devitalized, so go check out both of them.
Both.
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 Anyway, anyways, the next album on the list, number 98. I mean
Alright,
99.
I thought we were going back and forth.
No,
The hell?
I was going. I said we were gonna do it like I
Oh,
was gonna go uh
oh,
my top 10.
oh, 90. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Anyways, shut the fuck up. You know what? I'm gonna eat Taco Bell, come to your house, and shit in your toilet.
What the fuck? It's one hell of a threat. I'm gonna eat Taco Bell, come to your home, and shit in your toilet.
Johnny says that we should go back and forth. So you know what?
That's a fucking threat. Should we go back and forth?
Yeah. All right. Fine. We'll go back and forth.
That's fine. That works with me. I don't give a shit.
Go next.
I assumed that was what we were gonna do because
Go
you know,
ahead,
anyway,
Squilliam.
fancy son. Anyways, um, my number 100 was a little difficult because I look at the best rather than the worst. But if I'm being honest, if it's on my top 100, it's a good album anyway, and I'm probably gonna get shit on for this. But I grew up with this album, and it was an album that I jammed out to in middle school and early high school. And I'm talking about Five Finger Death Punch, and
Boo!
I'm talking about War
Boo!
is the Answer.
Boo!
Nah, man, hear me
Boo!
out. Like this album, I don't know what it was with me. It was my introduction into heavier music. Heavier music. Um, because like before I'd only listen coming from West Virginia, I mainly listened to country music and local little rock artists and whatever. This was my introduction into metal. So like hearing a song like Dying Breed or Bulletproof or Far From Home, which was an incredible ballad by the way, and of course the cover of Bad Company.
This is funny. I
It
thought
really
it
just kind
couldn't
of
get any worse than Charlie.
shut up. I am shameless. I don't give a fuck. Shameless.
You know what? I take it
But
back. Fuck voluntary victim.
man, man, look, I'm shameless, Johnny. I'm shameless. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways,
Anyway, but what I was saying is hearing songs like that, it's just like, damn, this is something new to me. And it just immediately clicked. The guitar work, actually learned how to play guitar off of this album.
oh yeah,
So
that's
there's
that's
that too.
that's one. That, Five Finger Death Punch unfortunately knows how to put on a good show. So I've seen
Oh yeah,
them.
they do.
I've not wanted to see them twice, but I have because I wanted to see Breaking Benjamin, and they were on the same bill. So yeah, and then they were also at a festival that I went to, and my mom wanted to say, and I didn't, so I had to. So fuck my life,
Yeah.
Dad. But
But they
uh,
put on a good show though, so at least it was worth it.
the first time I actually got a
Ivan's
good,
a great singer too.
I actually got a guitar pick, and it says, well, actually no, I had two. Um, the other one said dick on it. It was a dick pic. So but I didn't keep that one. I wish I did. Um, but I think Ivan's alright. I just don't really like butt rock singing. Which there is actually I think there's a
I
few
mean,
butt rock.
yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't call their early shit butt rock though. I wouldn't call their early work butt rock. That's the thing.
Fuck yeah,
Especially the
Breaking
way of the fist.
Benjamin rules.
I'll probably get to the way of the fist later on, but that definitely wasn't butt rock. You know what I'm saying? Like it actually had a
Really.
fun part to it.
Anyways, moving on. um
Breaking Benjamin's great.
Uh, Johnny might hate me. I don't know where he stands on this band. Blink 182 with their self-titled album because yeah, they were another band when I grew up, and yeah, I listened to Blink 182, and this is probably my favorite album from them. They had Feeling This, I Miss You. What else? Yeah, bunch of
Trent
other songs.
loves fists.
God damn. But oh god. But yeah, this album's pretty cool. They're kind of my gateway into emo punk rock. So yeah.
Nikita said, "I knew you two were dads."
And Travis Barker is a real, even though he's fucking doing drums for fucking Machine Gun Kelly. Fuck Machine Gun Kelly.
that that escalated quickly.
Shit. Your turn, sweetie.
My turn. Ooh. Anyway, um, it was tough picking this one too. You know, it's probably gonna be a lot less tough when we get to the top 50 or so. But uh, it was "I Prevail" Lifelines, and the reason this album's so low is probably because I listened to the hell out of it when it first came out, because I was one of those kids that found the Blank Space cover and checked out that first
Ooh, Taylor
technically
Swift.
EP. Technically EP, but it's labeled as an album. And Heart versus the Mind is one of the
No,
I
no.
think
Machine Gun
one of the
Kelly is
better
not
debuts.
better than Good Charlotte. I don't fucking give
It's
a shit.
not. Anyway, I would argue that Heart versus Mind is one of the best come up EP slash albums that has come out for a band, I think.
You
But
know,
Lifelines was the follow up to that, and it started out with Scars, which is a great song. You know, it's probably my favorite song on that album.
I know.
But I feel like the I only gripe with this album is that it's too long. There's too many songs on it.
No, I
But
know.
that's just me.
I know a band that's debut EP.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyways,
don't
um,
interrupt me, bitch.
I just. Well, you
Johnny's got the right
shut.
idea.
Hey, hey, Johnny. Will it's good. Anyways, the next one is staying on topic with the emo pop punk shit. Johnny will probably hate this one too, and I don't give a fuck. It is Fall Out Boy with From Under the Cork Tree. Um, and hey, you know, this song has banger. Everybody knows Sugar We're Going Down. Everybody better know Dance Dance because that's probably their best song other than Sugar We're Going Down. And yeah, I'm not the biggest Fall Out Boy. Actually, I'm not a fan of Fall Out Boy at all. I actually did see them live though because Bring Me the Horizon was opening for them, and they're pretty cool, especially live. I was blown away. They put on a really good live show. Like they had the fucking pyro coming off the fucking Fenway Park and shit. Like I was just like shit. Like I was blown away. But yeah, this is a pretty cool album, and it's not really one of my favorite albums, but I kind of just this was an album I kind of just put on here. Not gonna lie.
Brother, did we just have the same number 98? Because that's also my
Wait,
number
what?
98.
No way.
It's actually the same. Yeah.
No way. That's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
dude. It was an album I grew up on. So yeah, Fall Out Boy from Under the Cork Tree.
Well, now Johnny hates both of us.
it
Yo.
was an album I grew up on. It has to be there.
Yeah, same.
So it's like, there's gonna be a lot of albums that I grew up on that you guys are probably gonna see me as questionable, but this is way before I got into my shit. It's okay, Johnny. It brings more. It's more interaction. It's okay.
Exactly. You know how many dead streams we've done? A lot. A lot.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
No,
that's
as soon
fucking.
as soon as he said that, I was like,
Oh,
"Jeez, bro."
really?
Bro.
Anyways, next is from another butt rock band. And it is a really cool butt rock band called Breaking Benjamin. And it is actually one of their newer albums, actually their latest album, Ember. I actually really enjoyed that album because it's butt rock, but it's like surprisingly on like the lines of almost metalcore. Cause like he did some like screaming and shit on there. And it is
Mm.
pretty fucking sick. Like that's what Nick Nocturnal said. He was like, this shit was like if like Dad Rock tried to go metalcore and like was actually good. I was like, you know what? I fucking I feel that because like I love Cold River, Torn Into,
Red
um,
Gold
Tourniquet,
Reaver.
Psycho, um,
Mm.
Feed the Wolf, yeah, and yeah, that is my number 97.
All right, my number 97 is a fairly recent one, and it's one that you really love, and I'm sorry it's so low, but it's because of my preference. It's Angel Killer Zero by Diamond Construct. And the reason it's so low, maybe because I haven't listened to it enough, but when I did re-listen to it recently trying to make this list, I don't know, man. It doesn't click with me, and it's not because I hate it. It's not bad, of course it's not. But it's like it's not a style that I really
Yeah,
vibe to too much,
it's
if that makes sense. But it's still a really good album.
the two
Mhm.
genres you don't really like that much: hardcore and rap metal.
I mean, it's not. I don't even hate those genres. It's just I hate it when it's not creative. Which I'm gonna tell you right now, this is about the only hardcore album that's gonna be on this list, probably.
Hey yo, this
The
album is
reason it's
super
there,
creative though.
exactly. The reason it's there is because of the creativity, because of the you said it yourself, the genre fluidness. There we go.
Yeah.
It mixes two genres, and while I don't think it's a perfect blend yet, they haven't reached their full potential.
Fuck yeah, Diamond Contract. What the fuck just happened to my camera?
But I think this is going to be um I think this is what could be great later on, if that makes sense. Not right now, but later.
Yeah, no,
So I think that's why it deserves a spot on the list. Not very high, sadly. It'll probably change later on, but right now it's 97.
yeah, I've seen
Right.
videos of their guitarists live. I need them to come to America because I need to see them live. I keep begging them, but um, yeah, Diamond Construct is amazing, and they're gonna be on my list later. Actually, very high up. So, anyways, this next album, is an album that came out in 2013. Yep, 2013. Um, this album is a band that I don't really like that much. Their new their new vocalist is cool, but like this is like a progressive metal album. And I am talking about Singularities from Northlane. And
Mm,
yeah, this is like the one
damn.
Northlane album I actually really like. Um,
Damn.
don't tell me that. Yeah.
That one's higher up on my list.
Okay,
It's way
okay,
higher.
okay. I was gonna
It's
say
way higher on
if
my list.
it's the same
Damn.
number, that would have been funny. But yeah,
Uh,
they're just a band that kind of like gets forgotten about, especially because like their stuff is great.
Do they though? Do they though?
What?
Do they though? I mean, their EP last year was pretty heavily talked about.
No, I mean
I
for me
mean,
personally, get swept under.
that's fair, I suppose.
Like it's a band like I don't really care about anymore.
That's fair. Well, my next album, this is what, 96 now? Right? I've already lost count, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the answer? Lifelines. Oh boy. Yeah, 96. Um, it's a day to remember for those who have hearts.
Oh hell yeah!
And
That
it's so low
that
because
album
I
way
feel like this
higher for me.
wasn't it's
Also,
really
no,
good, but I feel like
that
there's
song
other
is
albums that
not
are
on the
better.
album.
I really feel like this album was a precursor to what is better later
Yeah.
on, if that makes sense. Because, like, in my opinion, there's
Fuel.
at least two or three albums that are better than this one.
There's a lot of A
I
Day to
think.
Remember on my list, and I'm gonna tell you that
Mhm.
one's the highest.
I mean, if I'm being honest, my highest is Common Courtesy, but you know, but that's also an album I grew up on. I
Yeah.
discovered this album a little later on, oddly enough, and I enjoyed it. But after listening to Common Courtesy and like Homesick and everything after it, I was like, this is like a precursor to a band that is gonna have a refined sound. Not refined. It's gonna have its own sound later on. Obviously, the new stuff from A Day to Remember is not exactly that incredible, but it's it's something that built a foundation for a band that would be widely talked about for years to come. And that's why I feel like this album, while it's not the highest that I remember album on my list, it is definitely one that is deserving of its spot.
Their
So
new
yeah,
stuff is
no,
not a day to remember; it's a day to forget.
absolutely.
But yeah, yeah, that album is gonna
A
be
lot of Johnny, a lot of smaller, lesser known artists are gonna be higher on my list. And I
um.
say that as in like bands that weren't really talked about for a long time.
Anyways, this album might upset you that it's kind of this low because it's a band that I don't really like them that much. At least their new last two albums I did not really like. Well, actually, last three albums because the one in the middle, like, it was all right, but it wasn't like mind blowing for me. Their first two albums is really good, and this is their first album. This is Wage War Blueprints. This album was really fucking sick. It had The River,
Mm.
which obviously had that fucking sick breakdown. Yeah. This album is honestly, in my opinion, it's hard. It's hard because Deadweight was also super good, but for me, this one, I don't know. It's like one of the best debut albums in my opinion.
That's respectable. For it being at your 95, that's actually really respectable because it's higher up on my list. It's further down, but for Blueprints, that was an album that really kind of I felt like brought a heavier sound to Fearless at the time,
Yeah.
where it had those fun riffs. It actually had a complex structure sometimes.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, it wasn't just basic ass generic metalcore. It was generic metalcore, but it wasn't basic. It wasn't like everybody else.
Yeah.
It had that differing sound. And The River, of course. But my favorite track on that album is honestly Youngblood, but that's for personal reasons. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I can see why you put it there. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, your turn.
My turn. Huh. All right. So the next one on this list for me, and this there's gonna be a few for this band on here, so just bear with me. It's um, it's Architects, and it's Lost Forever,
All right.
and that album's really good. I feel like out of that stretch though, between Hollow Crown to Holy Hell, it's the lowest ranking one for me, and the reason why, I don't know, man. I just felt like a lot of parts it was just heavy for the sake of being heavy. You
Yeah.
know, kind of like
I,
how we feel now. But at the same, it felt authentic, but it also didn't. Because Daybreaker,
that album
incredible
is
in my
so
opinion.
fucking good. I don't know.
It
Wait,
is,
let me check something. Do I even have? I better have the album.
but I feel like following after Daybreaker, it's really tough to pick up after that. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably why it's so low on my list. But I just recently listened to it again. And I was like, bro, this is going on my nostalgia playlist, just like Daybreaker is, just like Hollow Crown is. You know, it's really good. And I'm gonna be real. The first few albums are probably going to be higher up on the list later on. Here soon, I will talk about another album that's really good and well received from them. But right now, I think Lost Forever, Lost Together is definitely, I think it's fine here because I feel like it's the not the weakest, I wouldn't say, because they're all really strong, but it's definitely the one that I go back to the least, if that makes sense.
I actually like this album more than Daybreaker, even though, like you said, Daybreaker, and I said Daybreaker is fucking fantastic. But I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel maybe it's because it's newer. I like it more. But also, Daybreaker had a fucking song with Ollie Sykes on it, which was that I love that song.
Right.
Um, so yeah. Anyways, this is another band that's making a one-time only appearance on this list. Um, uh, and actually, the next few of these bands are one-time appearances. Anyways, this band is a early 2000 metalcore band from Australia. That probably gives it away. It's Parkway Drive's Atlas. Um, I yeah, this a lot of people would probably say like Horizons or Deep Blue, but for me personally, this is my favorite. It has Wild Eyes, Sleight of Hand, Darkest Days. I mean, Dark Days, yeah. But yeah, this is probably my favorite one from them. Um, and I don't know, it feels like it was like that perfect middle ground between being like that festival metalcore and like still being like fun, like being good. Because like nowadays, I feel like the metalcore they do is like butt rock.
Welcome to the stream, Hikaris. If that's how you pronounce your name, I hope I pronounced that right.
We love you, Johnny. Thank you for the over.
Absolutely, Johnny. Thank you so much. So my next one, 94, 93, 93. Sorry, 93. It had. I happen to think about it because there's two. There's like actually there's three for this band on my list, and I was trying to. I was pondering which one should be the lowest, and I figured it out. My number 93 is The Black by Asking Alexandria.
All right, all right.
And The Black, because it's a really cool album. I know it's not very well received by that fan base. I get it. But
Hey
it
yo,
was the
didn't it?
last bit of core Alexandria that we got. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it sounded like asking Alexander.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even say it sounded like Asking Alexandria. It was a fresher sound to their discography.
Well, I
To
mean
me, anyway. I
it
don't know if that was
doesn't,
just because it was a different vocalist or what, but
it doesn't sound completely alien versus their new stuff. It you would not
that's
be able
true.
to. That shit is from
That's
S.
true. Yeah. That's true, yeah. And a song like Let It Sleep opening the album, like I would argue that's the best track on the album. That's just me.
My favorite is the
But
title track.
the title track's really good too, obviously, but I don't know, I like Let It
I also
Sleep.
am a sucker for 0, 12, 13.
That's true. But no, I was cycling through and you could probably guess what the other two albums are that I was cycling through. But on the great scale, those albums are head and shoulders above The Black, but that being said, The Black is really, really cool in every aspect, in my opinion. Obviously,
I
there's a couple tracks I don't fuck with anymore, but that's because I listen to them a lot.
I
But
have I have only
this
one
this album is
album
solid.
from them on this list. Probably know
Stand
what
up
it
and
is.
scream.
But
Yeah,
anyways,
I was about to say stand up and scream, probably.
anyways,
Hic-
all
Hickory.
all the death metal fans are gonna love this one because this is a melodic death metal band. R.I.P. to the vocalist Trevor Strand, but this band is
Mm,
the Black Dahlia Murder. Their album Nocturnal, and I actually this is a weird one because I found this band from Saints Row 2 because their song "What a Horrible Night to Have a Curse" is actually in that game, and I was like, oh shit, this what the fuck is this like death metal in a video game? Like this is sick. So I ended up checking this whole album out, Nocturnal, from them, and it is so fucking good. In my opinion, it's like one of the best death metal albums that I've heard. Because I'm not the huge biggest fan of death metal, and that is probably very surprising because I love deathcore, but I also hate death metal fans because they're fucking annoying and elitist most of the time. But like, fuck them. Anyways, I hope you're happy with the like. I think this is the only death metal album on the list, but I actually do really love this album. I didn't just put it there, but yeah, um, yeah, and also this album like kind of got me into deathcore because like this is the one of the more heavier albums that I checked out back then.
mm. All right. My 92, man.
Dude,
Like Mouse the Flames, When We Don't Exist, their debut album. And the reason why is because I mean, it's a debut album for a band that started in the scene phase. You know what I'm saying? Like they were starting when the scene bands were still pretty popular, and they were just kind of trying to fit in at that time. Now, I don't think they actually found their own sound yet. But that album at the time was one of my introductions into metalcore. So, because I found You Won't Be Missed, I think, on a random playlist while listening to Asking. because Asking Alexandria and We Came as Romans were the two bands that got me into it.
Yeah.
Which more on We Came as Romans in a bit. Um, but this was another band that I found and it got me into it, and I liked it, but at the same time, it just felt like everyone else, especially now in 2025, where I'm 22 years old, turning 23, sorry, and I now have a more a wider view on music, and my 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 taste is expanded a lot. I feel like on the grand scheme of things, this album doesn't really hold up to their future work, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like I have to put this album on the list because it's one of the albums that kind of brought me into what I'm into now. So
I think
definitely deserving of a spot.
I think their new album is probably one of the best albums.
I think it's their best,
Yeah, it is.
personally.
Anyways, the band that is actually broke up. There's actually two
Dang.
bands on this that I think broke up. Well, actually
I have a couple as well.
broken up. But anyways, this is a very well respected band in the hardcore community, in the um like I don't know, like post hardcore. But this is also the only album on this. It is Every Time I Die. Gutter Phenomenon. Um, yeah, I actually found this album in the band from. I'm actually wearing their shirt. I just realized what the fuck. Um, but I found this band from doing YouTube reactions back in the day, and like during COVID, I used to do them. Yeah, people told me to check out Every Time I Die, and then I checked out this album, and I was luck, speech not working.
Luckle.
Lucky enough to see them live before they broke up. So yeah, and they actually played a lot of songs on this album. And yeah, my favorite song is God. It's fucking hard to choose. I actually just like re-listened to this album because like I was like it was hard to pick a favorite because I actually really just like this whole album. Obviously, one of my favorites is gonna be The New Black because like that's like one of the top tracks on that album. Uh, Another one I think is Kill the Maniac. I like. Uh, yeah, those are. Oh wait, and then Boom. Boom. I can't. Not letting me see the fuck. This name. Peasants section. The albums that came up. Gloom, and now it gets that way. Spotify. Yeah, every time I die, better.
Was this 91? um, my next one is for a band from West Virginia, my home. Left Behind, a band that isn't around anymore, sadly. I don't think they are anyway.
Yeah,
Um, damn, it sucks because they were starting to find their stride a little bit. They're a more hardcore type band, you know? One of the few that I actually enjoyed. And the reason why I enjoyed it, again, I found this band when I was still trying to get into metalcore. And the last album that they released, on oddly enough, is on this list. Um, this album was really when they were starting to finally find their stride a little bit, and I mean, they had Matt Honeycutt on a track. Um, and it was fun. I mean, I'm looking back on it now. Like if I was still in high school or middle school, this album would be higher on my list because they're from West Virginia. Of course, I got to promote them. They're not a band anymore though, so I don't know if I should. The last track was in 2021, but
yeah,
it wasn't even their track. But um, I don't know. I feel like there's not much more to say other than they are from West Virginia. They are a band that I have actually been on stage with before. Like I've actually gotten to share some vocals with them at one point. Um, I've played with my old local bands that never released music with them. It was kind of cool. I feel like they deserve a spot on the list despite me not really fucking with their music anymore,
yeah,
especially where they haven't released anything in a while and there's no new material to really get into. But yeah, Left Behind is number 91 for me.
Yeah, my voice was probably cutting out because I turned my volume down because I didn't know if it was like too loud. So now I know. Anyways, the next album is actually a really recent album. This album actually came out last year, and it's a Buster produced album. And this album is Grayscale Season, Feel Something. Um, yeah, I really like the album, and I think I actually put it on my top 10 album of the year last year. So I thought it was deserving of a spot on the list. And actually, there's a lot of like newer albums, which is surprising because like it was really hard to make a top 100. I'm not gonna lie, it's super hard, so fucking hard.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really like this album. My favorite song is Verified, Still Hurts, and then Custom Painted. Yeah, and this is honestly like a shorter album, obviously because it has less songs than a typical album, and it's only 27 minutes long. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So notice I said before, there's gonna be a few A Day to Remember albums on this, and that's my next one. My number 90, rounding out my first 10, is What Separates Me From You.
All right.
I don't know why. It just kind of, I don't know. I listened to it again recently and it didn't connect with me as much because it was originally going to be my top 50,
Yeah.
but it didn't connect with me as much on the second listen, on this recent listen. Because the last time I listened to it in full, I think was like 2017. I think. I know this album came out 7 years before that, but I don't know. I maybe it's because of the muddy production, but then again, that might be what I was into in 2017. You never know.
Yeah.
But I remember I was on a band trip, because I was in marching band at the time,
Yeah.
and I guess I was listening to it all the way through, and I really enjoyed it back then. And now I guess I don't really enjoy it too much, even though
Uh,
I still really enjoy Second Sucks, of course. This is the house that Doubt built. Um,
QB
all
song.
signs point to
LB.
Lauderdale. You know,
I got to go
yeah.
to Fort Lauderdale and play that song on Spotify. I was like, yes, I did the thing. I
I
did the
hate this
thing.
town. It's
It's
so
so
washed
washed up.
up.
Uh-huh. I
My
actually
friend, don't
don't
give a fuck.
have that album on this list because
Really?
it's a great album, but it's my least favorite. The, the
That's fair.
data, the ones that I picked. Um.
That's fair.
Anyways, this is another MySpace metalcore band. I guess you'd call them. Same thing with A Day to Remember. This is The Devil Wears Prada, and this is one of their older albums. This album is uh fucking Spotify will load. He's fucking with roots above and branches below. Um I feel like this is like I like their older stuff, like Plagues obviously, but like it's not, I'm not as big as a fan of it as I am this one. Like I feel like this was the album that I know Des Moines is actually one of their like still one of their most popular songs, so I feel like it's the album that probably really kicked them off. But for me personally, that's the album that got me into them. Even though that's technically a lie because it was one of their newer albums, but like going back, like it was the album that I actually did enjoy from their older stuff, as well as like their later stuff after that album. But like their earlier stuff before that, like was kind of like too raw for me. So yeah. But my favorite songs on this album is obviously Des Moines, Danger Will, Wild Man, and yeah.
Roy. My number 89, and it's so low, and I'll explain it in a sec, is Ascension by Mirar, a brand new album that came out this
Hey,
month.
it's actually
The reason
crazy.
it's, the reason it's so low is because is a major factor to it. It's an instrumental album,
Yeah. Also, it
and
just came out.
not, yeah. So it hasn't really had time to simmer. So I feel like it's a little unfair to rank it, but I'm gonna put it there for now because It's an instrumental album, but on top of that, I feel like the album is great. Obviously, the instrumental is incredible, but the main thing that does hold it back is the fact that it's instrumental. But the fact that it's an instrumental album on this list, I'm pretty sure it's the only one that's on this list for me. Sorry, Nikita, I know you're watching, but it's the only instrumental album that's on this list for me. So that should tell you something. Actually, no, there's two. Never mind. There's two more after this one. But the
Two.
reason it's so low, two. The reason it's so low is because it hasn't had time to simmer yet, and I feel like this is just the beginning of what is to come later on. So
Yeah.
I feel like it just needs more time to simmer, and the fact that it is instrumental is the reason I just don't connect with it as much. But it's still very fun to listen to. I'll listen to it while I'm doing work and whatnot. But
All right.
yeah, it'll be up higher later on, probably. I'm sure.
Okay, so this album is from a hardcore band. Actually a pretty older hardcore band. They're actually
I
like
agree, Connie.
could you could debate that they are melodic hardcore, but this is Counterparts with their album You're Not You Anymore, and actually there's a few Counterparts album. I love Counterparts. Counterparts is like honestly, in my opinion, one of the best hardcore bands out there. And I'm going to see them next month. So if you're going to that show, probably stay out of the pit because I'm literally this is the first show that I'm gonna go to. I'm not standing in line and like right before the show starts. I'm chugging a monster and going in the pit. So anyways, yeah, my favorite albums on this favorite songs on this album are A Memory Misread, Walk Away Slowly, Haunt Me, and Thieves. Um But yeah, I really like this album. And like I said, there's gonna be a lot more counterparts on this list. And yes, I agree. The
Alrighty,
new EP was amazing.
alrighty. Going back to the emo side for a second. My next pick, number 88, is 3 Days Grace 1X. Uh,
I wouldn't really call
I,
that emo. I mean, it is, but it also
it
isn't.
is, it is. But that album, it was literally the first ever rock album I heard as a kid. Hard rock album I heard as a kid. I grew up on like AC/DC and whatnot, but um, first like kind of new metal slash hard rock grunge album that I heard, and it was on my original Xbox. If that tells you anything. Um, but that album was sick, man. I quite enjoyed it when I was a kid, and I still kind of go back to it a little bit sometimes. But it's an album that it just kind of sticks with you, man. Once you listen to it, it's just like it sticks in your head. Like sometimes it'll just pop up, you know, let's start a riot, those tracks will pop up in your head sometimes. Um, but yeah, 3 Days Grace. While I'm not a fan of the new stuff, of course, it's more butt rock now. It's it's more back then was more of a it was a bit genre defining back in 2006 when it dropped, and of course moving on forward before metalcore really became popular. But yeah, um,
And
3 Days Grace 1X
anyway,
is my number 88.
still wondering if we're gonna have more things that are like the same number. But anyways,
We probably will.
this next album is a deathcore band, and actually they're like a symphonic deathcore band from Connecticut. That probably gives it away. And yeah, I think it's debatable, but I think this one is their best album, but it's also their most recent one. But this is Elegy from Shadow of Intent, who I'm actually seeing for the first time in a few months. This was also the album that got me into them, so there's a little bit of bias there. And they also have a song featuring Phil Bozeman, so again, that's probably also something that does it for me. But my favorites obviously are Where Millions Have Come to Die, A Life of Exile, and then the whole trilogy of Elegy.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chris Wiseman is a fucking insane guitarist. This is the only Shadow of Intent album on this list, but this is not the only Forrest Wiseman work on this list. So, yeah, wink.
Uh, my number 80. What is this? 87 now.
Yeah.
87. Goes to Phineas with The Fire Itself, their most recent album. Um, man, Phineas really just kind of came out of nowhere and dropped that album, and it was really solid, man. It brought back a little bit of my love for Christian metal, bro. I swear. But that album hit hard. But it sucks that they didn't come right back after it. You know what I'm saying? Like they played a few shows and then they were done. That I haven't really heard much from them. But
Yep. They kind of just
um,
disappeared.
they dropped a banger and dipped. But no, I enjoyed that album, man. Like I said, it brought back my love for Christian metal, and that's pretty much all I listened to for a while in 2021. That along with the Born of Osiris album, Angel or Alien. Um, those two albums kind of defined that, which I kind of just gave away what my next pick is, but I'll dive into it later. But my favorite track on this album was Eternally Apart, the opener. Um, into in the Night, which has one of the best solos I've ever heard. Like that guitar solo is incredible. And I think Thorns and Dream Thief were also worth mentioning as well. But yeah, that album was sick, and it's not gonna be the last time you hear from Phineas on this one.
Yeah. Anyways, this next pick might upset Will. It might hurt your little because this is a debut album from it's actually a really recent album. From It's a debut album from a band that Buster produced. And it yeah, it is all
Big Icarus, all
from the New World. Yeah, I really like this album, but like I don't know, it's just so hard because there's so many fucking other great albums on this list. It's
that's
so
fair.
super hard to rank. But yeah, and this is only their first album, which is actually pretty good that they made it this
Oh
like
yeah.
it's not high up, but it's not also super low either. Um, because I originally had them lower, but then yeah, I moved them around because they deserve to be higher because this band has amazing things. Acula is one of my favorite songs, and it was one of my favorite choruses of the year. And then, yeah, this album actually would have been higher, but I listened to another album that we completely forgot about last year that was
Wait,
really
Great
good.
Icarus.
But yeah. Anyways, go because I have to go.
Okay, go pee. My number 86. My number 86, as I mentioned before, is Born of Osiris, Angel or Alien. That album was a lot of fun, and it was very, very surprising to hear, considering I had kind of fallen off on them a little bit. The last album before that wasn't bad. The what was it again? I can't remember what the fuck it's called. It's their 2019 album. Fucking The Simulation. Yeah, The Simulation. Um, that album was really sick, but I just felt like it was missing something, and I feel like Angel or Alien brought back anything that it was missing. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking over there, like my face cam's right there. It's right here. I feel like it brought everything that it was missing and put it into a full long 14 track album. And all 14 tracks were worth listening to at the time anyway. White Nile is one of my favorite tracks by them. Angel or the title track was really good too. I really, really enjoyed You Are the Narrative. I really enjoyed the closer, Shadow Mourn. But I think the main thing that holds this album back a little bit is that there is a lot of repeating sounds with this album, as in it focuses a lot on the breakdown aspect rather than continuously coming up with creative riffs instead of
What album?
chugs, if that makes sense. Born of Osiris, Angel or Alien. Um, but of course, every track is enjoyable in its own way. If you love Born of Osiris, you love this album. It brought a different sound from them too, introducing some clean vocals into it, which was something I did not expect, which is something I actually find pretty cool because they didn't overuse it. Sadly, Joe's not in the band anymore, but yes, Angel or
Fair.
Alien is my number 86.
They've had too many lineup changes. You know what's funny though? Robbie told me that Joe reminds me of what he thinks that I'm gonna be like, that vocalist who just goes in the green room and is on his phone like, talk to me. Which I'm not. I'm gonna be at the fucking merch. So fuck you. Um. Anyways, this next album is from a pretty fucking sick band. They dropped one of the sickest albums of 2001, and they actually like they're one of those bands that dropped two fucking amazing albums. Technically, I'd say like three or four. It's debatable if they drop four really good albums because, in my opinion, I really like the first three ones, and for me, like I like the fourth one, but it's not like I don't like it as much as the first three. Anyways, this album is Iowa from Slipknot. This is not my favorite Slipknot album, but it's my second favorite, and actually my first favorite is really high up, like super fucking high up. So, so yeah, but anyways, yeah, this is the album that got me into heavier music. We got fucking People Equal Shit, Disaster Beast, the Heretic Anthem, Left Behind, which is honestly one of my favorite Slipknot songs that people don't really talk about enough. Skin Ticket, New Abortion. Yeah, this album is one of like it deserves to be on the top. It kind of just speaks for itself. It's like one of those albums. Like if it's not on your top 100, you're fucking crazy. Sorry.
I agree. It's a little higher up for me, but yeah, I agree.
Also, this
Um,
is one of those albums that I put in there and didn't really shift around. Like didn't really.
my number 85 is a fairly recent one. I'd say fairly recent, as in it came out this decade. It's Norma Jean, Death Rattle Sing for Me. Um, and it was really cool hearing something from them again. I know the last album before this was 2019, so it wasn't that long ago. But Norma Jean is one of those bands that kind of pioneered metalcore for me. And I know it's not basic metalcore, like it's not what you think of when you hear the
Mathcore.
word metalcore. You know, it's more mathcore, yeah. But I know it's not that typical band that you would expect from metalcore. But they're one of those bands that kind of pioneered it. And this album was definitely high on the list in 2022 for me. Um, simply because of, you know, again, they brought the creativity back to the genre a little bit. Spearmint Revolt and Sleep Explosion were both two tracks that I really enjoyed from this album. They're both they weren't singles. I mean, Spearmint Revolt was, but both of these tracks were really fun to listen to. 1994 was a good opener, and of course, Heartache's a good closer. 8 minutes long, but it's a good closer. Yeah, this album was just really fun, man. It brought back that classic metal feel, you know what I'm saying? And of course, Norma Jean being an artist I grew up on, it's kind of cool to hear them still kicking ass in 2022 at this time, and I hope they drop something here soon.
Yeah. Uh, Norma Jean was a band that I kind of like slapped on, like that I didn't like. They were never really on my list when I was growing up, but I did check out that album, and I think I checked out like their earlier work, especially when I was doing reaction videos. People told me to check them out, and like, yeah, they're like I definitely like them because like a lot of people like say, oh, like the pioneers of metalcore are like Killswitch Engage, which I love them. Like Norma Jean, Converge, and Converge is one of the metalcore bands I never got into. I'm sorry, like I personally never really got the hype, but like I do respect them. One because they're from Massachusetts, and two because like they innovated with metalcore, and but they had more of that mathcore sound, and like I'm not the biggest fan of it. I do like it more from like the Dillinger Escape Plan, which this reminded me, I forgot to put one of their albums on the list, so whoops. So honorable mention. Let me actually go look up that album. Um, but the next album on my list, that's actually on my list, is Foreign Hands. What's Left Unsaid. That album was actually pretty high up on my list last year. Um, and yeah, I really like that album. It was a good mix. I feel like of hardcore and like post-hardcore because it had like that Under Oath vibe. And I feel like they did it really well, and I'm super excited to see them next year. My favorite songs on that album are Horror Domain, uh, Condition for a Head-On Collision, and yeah. Anyways, the albums that I had on my honorable mention that I forgot to add from Dillinger Sweet Heat Plan was Calculating Infinity. That's the first album I heard from them, but it's also my favorite. The first song I heard on it was 43% Burnt, and that's that's like the best mathcore I've ever heard. In my opinion, like, and also they're kind of like one of the like founders of that sound. So like, but yeah, I feel like they do that perfectly. But yeah, also going back to Foreign Hands, another one of my favorite songs was "God Under Fingernails" because they use their fucking band name in the call up, but they didn't do it like how every band does it, like band name motherfucker, like Knocked Loose. They do they did like they like kind of embedded it as part of the lyrics, so it was pretty cool to see them do that for the breakdown. Yeah. Your turn.
Hold on.
Ooh.
All right.
Anyways.
Sorry. Anyway, my next album is "If I Were You," End of an Era. Um, this album is an album that I feel like is never talked about. It's got that mid 2010s metalcore sound. It's very breakdown heavy. It's got some fun riffs. The vocals are great. Um, if I were to use a band that I don't hear talked about too much anymore, and it sucks because they're one of those bands that don't tour too much anymore, which that also sucks. I would love to see them live. But they're one of those bands that peaked and then after COVID they just kind of never recovered. But they're still releasing some pretty kick-ass music today. But End of an
Yeah.
Era is kind of part of that 3 album stretch that was just really fucking good. The 4 album stretch really that was really fucking good. End of an Era, The Sleepless, Life After Death, Inner Signals. Radiant Dark was really good too, but I feel like those 3 albums were kind of peak If I Were You, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
They also
End of an
dropped
Era is definitely an album that influenced a lot of my sound. So
they dropped an album that last year that I actually really enjoyed too. Um which I also feel like it wasn't talked about enough. Like I didn't hear anybody talk about it honestly. So, anyways though, next album is from a local band. Not really local anymore, but like they're from around here. And they're actually dropping an album tomorrow. But this album is from Great American Ghost. It is Power Through Terror. Um, they don't really have that many albums to choose from, so kind of was hard to pick one from them. But this is definitely my favorite. It was hard because I also do like the album before this. But I do like this one more because it has the Rat King, Prison Hate, Altar of Snakes, which is one of my favorite. The title track, Power Through Terror, Scorched Earth. That one's also one of my favorite because the fucking breakdown is Scorched Earth, motherfucker, and then right into a fucking breakdown. And yeah, this album is really fucking sick. And honestly, I love the new sound, but I feel like this is, in my opinion, their best album. But others will disagree because I feel like this new album will probably be more on the safer, not safer side, but like more like friendly to people who don't love hard, like Will.
all right, so this next one, and it sucks that it's so low, but Make Them Suffer with the self-titled album. Probably gonna get a lot of hate for that, but
Ooh,
I don't know, man. This album didn't sit with me as well as their old shit did, you know.
hello. Ooh.
And maybe it just needs more time to settle. Because obviously every track on this album is pretty sick. It's just I don't know. Maybe this new sound is just it just needs some more time to work with. You know what I'm saying?
You just reminded me to
Because
check if I had one of their albums on my list. I do.
okay, I was about to say, but obviously tracks like Doom Switch, Ghost of Me especially is my favorite track on this album. But you
For me,
know, in terms
Epitaph
of
was my favorite.
Epitaph, solid too. But in terms of like their discography, I feel like this new sound isn't quite there yet, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah,
feel like this is just the precursor. So I feel like what is it, 83 is totally fine for me.
yeah. Anyways, this next album is by a band that's had a few vocalists change. I think they've now had three vocalists change. They're a band from the UK, and this is actually their debut album, and it is honestly, in my opinion, their best album. But some might think that the second album is their best album, but they only have three albums. So, anyways, this album is Lost Isles by Ocean's 8 Alaska. Really fucking good album, especially for a debut album. The first song I ever heard from them was um Vultures and Sharks. This is like a band that's super cool because like I can't tell you if they're deathcore or metalcore because they mix both of them super well, as well as other genres. But like this album was so fucking sick, and honestly, like I'm surprised they didn't get bigger from this album. Obviously, they're on Fearless, which honestly kind of fucked them over, especially with Disparity. Like that album, nobody really like. People did talk about because they made a comeback, but like I feel like it didn't get talked about enough, especially because it was a dragged out release. That album was supposed to come out in 2019 or 2020, but apparently, it with their label did not go well. So,
I got you. That's another one that's a little higher up on my list, I think. My next album is We Came as Romans to Plant a Seed, the album that got me into metalcore. Um,
why?
it's it's an album that I commonly go back to simply because it just kind of it just keeps coming up, man. Um, tracks like Beliefs, We Are the Reasons, To Plant a Seed, the title track. Um, that this album was kind of what defined me in middle school and high school, if that makes sense. Getting into what I'm into now. It's not my favorite album by them, but like it's still definitely worth mentioning as part of this list. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's fair enough.
They're a band. I never really got super into them, but I actually really enjoyed Dark Bloom a lot, surprisingly, which is probably not really a fan favorite. I'm not sure because like it's hard to tell because like people are probably obviously gonna be indifferent because like some people were there for Kyle and some people weren't. I was one of those people. Like I only
Rest
knew
in
about
peace,
them.
Kyle.
I only really knew about them because of I was seeing them with Bullet for My Valentine, Bad Omen. So yeah, that's the only
Rest in
reason.
peace, Kyle.
Yeah. And actually, he died. He unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace. Oh yeah. On like before that tour happened, and their vocalist now, David, had to kind of pick up the piece, which I cannot hear you. Uh, I don't. Oh, I can't. Um.
My mic was
Uh.
off. That's why.
That would explain technical difficulty. But I feel like he's doing a good job, but it's like hard to replace Kyle.
Oh yeah,
But
facts. They're gonna have to really figure it out.
I feel like they'll probably release the album possible. But anyway, oh wait, your turn. Wait, is it? No wait, my
It
turn.
is not my turn now.
Yeah, it is not your. Anyway, next album is from a band that's actually releasing. They're a band that does not tour, and they have a vocalist who was in two very popular, actually still in a very popular deathcore band. and was in a very popular deathcore band now, and that band is Darko US. Obviously, this is Tom Parber's project, and this is their debut album, Darko. And this is not the last Darko album on the list. But yeah, this album was fucking crazy. Insect is probably still one of my favorite songs from them, and it's probably one of my favorite like deathcore songs in general because that song, like, it's fucking amazing. And also like this album also got us like to get a chance to hear Tom Barber do like some different stuff that he's never done before because like obviously he's been in Lawrence before and Chelsea Grin and they're predominantly deathcore, like just straight up deathcore. But Darko is like a weird project because it's not like it's obviously like mainly deathcore, but it's kind of like how I want to do Destined for Doom because they'll sprinkle in like some cool shit, like some like more metalcore sound or stuff like that. Like they had a song on the last album that was like almost a metalcore song, but also deathcore. The one that had David Simonage and the vocalist of Volume. So yeah,
I agree. My next one is also a Darko album, but not the debut. I would actually put Oni at that spot because Oni I didn't really reside with too much, whereas the production was better on this album. I just felt like the debut just was better in the aspect of it brought something new to the genre, you know. It was kind of genre defining. It was something brand new rather than the same rinse and repeat bullshit, you know. It brought something new to deathcore. So I would honestly put Oni at that spot rather than the debut.
crazy because I actually do have only on this list and it's higher. So. But personally, I just listened to that album a lot more and like um also the features help a lot. Because like they had a fucking song with Ryo Kinoshita, they had a song with fucking Taylor Barber, they had a song with Kyle from Brand of Sacrifice. They had the song with Rory on that album, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a really cool album. But that's later on in the list because my next pick is from once again Counterpart, and this is their most recent album, and it is a eulogy for those still here. Um, I really like this album. I know Johnny said he didn't like this album, but probably because it has a bunch of. But I think it was cool because it's a breath of fresh air for their sound, especially because like they did it really well, and obviously it was more emotional and personal to Brendan, and yeah, I really dig this album, especially because I'm pretty sure they came out either it was the same year or the year after they came out. Well, and dropped an album, and yeah, so it felt like even if you weren't the biggest fan of the sound, at least you had End to like satisfy that hardcore heaviness, and all like End is fucking really heavy, which is fucking crazy because they still are tuned to drop C. I'm like, how the fuck can
Yeah,
you be that heavy drop C? Probably like pitch shift. Um, yeah, that is. I don't even remember what number we're on.
it's like 80, I think.
Anyway, your turn.
Veil of Maya ID.
Ooh,
This album's very slept on. I never hear it talked about, but Veil of Maya ID. This album kind of
I have two albums on my list. But I don't want
I have three. But this album really just kind of brought out a sound that I wasn't used to because I was still trying to discover what was what was hot, because I just started listening to heavier stuff. And this is an album that I kind of popped up on. Unbreakable was the song that I found. and you know, I it really kind of helped me figure out that I enjoyed the gent sound. You
Gent.
know, I enjoyed the genty breakdowns and
John.
whatnot, the weird guitar parts and junt.
John.
Um, and that's when led me to find the Common Man's Collapse, which I'll talk about later. Um,
Actually,
but out of all their albums, I think this is my least favorite. I think
really.
because maybe because I didn't really connect with the lyrics as much as I would on like say Eclipse or something.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I really liked. Wow, that's okay. So now I know what the three albums are on this list. But
All I have is just wow now,
man,
wow, waiting.
that album should be on my list because like they did like gent deathcore and like that kind of pay tribute. That kind of. Anyways, um, yeah, let's. Okay, this album is from a band that their vocalist got canceled last year. Wait, actually, was it last year or the year? I think it was the year before, actually. Yeah. This band, and actually, I don't really think he deserved to get canceled. I mean, I think what he said was a little fucking crazy, but like, I don't think he deserved to get canceled. Anyway, this is a band that kind of saved deathcore when they dropped this album in 2013 because they're like this was 2013 was like right after Mitch died, so like it was like kind of like a scary time for deathcore because like I don't know, a lot of deathcore bands wanted to do other shit too because that's also the year that Bring Me the Horizon dropped Sempiternal, so a lot of deathcore bands started going more metalcore. But this band came out of nowhere and dropped Hate from Thy Art Is Murder. Um and yeah, this is a really fucking sick album. Like this is like one of the only albums I like their EP for this. I think they're female. But uh I don't remember their name, but whatever. Um, but yeah, this album is fucking sick. Obviously, everybody knows Reign of Darkness. But yeah, this album was sick. I like Reign of Darkness, Dead Sun, Infinite Forms, and Shadow of Eternal Sin. But yeah, I feel like this album was like one of those. It was like because there wasn't like a huge deathcore album like in the span of like that time frame, but I feel like this one was like a really big deathcore album that came out in 2013.
Mm. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 Um, my next album is Before I Turn not Prophets, the Virus. What the fuck? I thought of the song Prophets, the Virus. Um, the reason it's so low is because well, the instrumental's cool. The production's a little muddy, but it's whatever. It's their first release. Uh, the lyrics didn't really hit. You know what I'm saying. And I felt like the end of the album was kind of killed it for me a little bit. But it's still pretty cool. You know, it brought a more no, I don't want to say fun, but more like a fresher sound to prog metalcore. Whereas it wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it was an album that kind of set the course a little bit with some genty breakdowns, a mix between deathcore and metalcore, especially with a track like I think it was Leeches featuring Adam Warren from Oceano. You know that,
Rip Ocean
but
Man.
yeah, that was bullshit. But anyway, but then you had tracks like At Your Grave, which actually had some clean vocals in it. Um, I just felt like this album was mad unbalanced because I felt like the clean vocals happened at the end of the album, which was like, well, I'm already kind of tired from the heavy tracks now. Like, not really an interest to listen to these now. But it was still a cool album. They definitely fixed their sound with Claustrophobic and Lovelorn, which again I'll get to later on. But yeah, before I turn, the virus.
Anyways, Pub Cam, because like it keeps getting fogged up. Anyways, this next band is a band that doesn't have another album on this. Actually, the two albums bands that primarily because the one after that doesn't have another album. Anyways, but this band does have another album, and they're not a band that I actually talk about all that much. Um, this band is called Movement, and the album is called Feel Something. I really like this album. It's more on the emo pop rock or pop punk side, um, and stuff like that. But I feel like it's really good, really emotional, and yeah, I was surprised with how much I liked it because like I'm not the like I know I had a lot of emo pop punk albums like in the beginning, but like that's not really what I primarily listen. So I was surprised that I ended up really liking this album. My favorite tracks was probably Full Circle, Colorblind, um, Delilah, Lily, um, and uh, Suffer Through.
All right. My next one is kind of an older one again, 2009. Breakdown of Sanity with their debut album, The Last Sunset. I listened back to it recently. It wasn't originally going to be on my list, but I listened back to it recently, and I really would love this album to get a remaster, but it's not probably not going to. But anyway, I feel like with this album, it just had too many songs on it. But it was another album that kind of introduced me to the heavier side of metal, and of course, Mirrors, which I'll talk about again later, is the album that got me into the heavier side of metalcore, if that makes sense. But the Last Sunset is kind of what started it all for them as a do it yourself metal band because like they never got signed. I mean, yeah, they got promoted by Empiricon, but like never actually got signed in their entire tenure. Um, and with their comeback, I'm very happy that they're coming back and doing music and shit and whatnot. And they actually did a live show again recently, even though they just lost their vocalist. But um, yeah, man, this album, the only thing I have wrong with it is the fact that I feel like it has too many songs on it. But you know, and I feel like a song like "Here Comes the Pain" kind of
Here comes the
overstayed
pain.
its welcome a little bit, and "Read My Lips" as well. But yeah, pretty fun album. Other than that, yeah, worth my. I think it's 77 now.
All right. Well, this is a band that all actually Buster is in the band. This is not the only Buster. There's one more Buster. But anyways, uh, this album is their only album. Um, and Buster is the drummer of this. Probably just way it is Guilt by Throne. It's a quick, easy listen for me because like every song is fucking heavy, depressing. Um, I actually really like this album more than the new Knock Loose album. I feel like, well, one they had like all 11 songs. They didn't have fucking like interludes. Um, that's one thing I like about that. And two, yeah, I have favorites. Backfire, On the Verge, Bitter Friend, Nights, Dislike, but like honestly, I like every single song on the album, and I'm about to go see them next month. So also, if you're gonna be in the pit there, watch the fuck out.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're all already at like a million of only that album. Yeah, they're still at a million listeners. Fucking insane. Um, so like I can only imagine how much bigger they're gonna. And they all already are selling out their first US headliner. Like they're selling out the show that I'm going to is sold out, and I'm so happy they're not upgrading the venue because a lot of the venues got upgraded, and this venue upstairs has no barricade, and I'm like, yes, I'm going on stage. I don't give a fuck. Jumping off.
Number 76, I think. 76.
What do you say?
Parkway Drive, and it's probably a hot take. Ire,
Yeah, that is a hot take.
Ire, and the reason why I hated Darker Still. It's one of my least favorite albums ever.
If a
But
god can bleed, then I'll bleed you out.
if God can bleed, then I'll bleed you out like a God can bleed.
Okay, okay, that's
Fuck
enough.
that song, man. But anyway, the reason I picked Ire is because let's be honest, Parkway's old. Parkway's getting old. They had to change their sound eventually. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this was the right way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because this album kind of brought out a different side of them that fans aren't, quite accustomed to. They wanted to change it. This is a more arena friendly album, and honestly, all of these tracks smack live. So
Yeah.
like, there's that
I
too.
Dude, I was supposed to see this band 3 times, I think, but COVID kept canceling them. The
Oh
first
yeah,
line,
fact.
the first lineup was Parkway Drive, Fit for a King, Hate Breed, and Knock Loose. That would have been a fucking amazing. But yeah, COVID said fuck you. So happened, and I still have yet to see them. But yeah, I agree that was a way better transition than their last two albums. The last two albums,
Yeah, and I mean, shit. You got a song like "Bottom Feeder" if you want to
yeah.
stick to the heavy shit. You got "Crushed" you can stick
Crushes.
to. Yeah.
What I think Bottom Feeder is like one of those festival songs. Obviously, like it has
Oh yeah,
that like
fact.
that energy that is for that. But yeah, Crushed. I think Crushed was actually the first song I heard from them because Jared Dines did that. Like a bunch of vocalists.
Raised by the face of God.
I actually might cover that song. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, my next album is a metalcore band that got popular in the scene core days. The vocalist used to be in Attack Attack, and then he left this band, and then I don't know what the fuck he's doing now. Dying, literally dying. This band is of Mice and Men with their album The Flood. This album is there like it's I actually have another album on here, and it's hard to say if it's their best album because the other album, like, it was the album that got me into them, and like, this album is just so good. Like It's hard to pick a favorite for this one too, and this was like how I was able to like distinguish albums. Honestly, this album should be a lot higher. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to re-rank it, but like OG Loco, still YD Gene, Ohio is on fire, Product of Murder, like this album was so fucking good, and I think it's like it hurts me like to say it's their best album, but like I think it is. I think it is like it's hard between that and another album that I'll get to later, but like that is higher, but mostly because it's the first one that got me into them. And honestly, the album that I will talk about later got me into a lot of the newer era of metalcore because like I was still listening to like Killswitch Engage, Bullet for My Valentine, because like I was like very stuck to the bands that I already had.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Uh, so sorry, I was responding to another friend of mine. My next album, I believe, is number 74. Right? I think.
74.
It's "Bless the
74.
Fall." "Bless the Fall" with Hollow Bodies.
That is also on, but it's a little bit higher.
It was an album that I really found like really late. Like I found this album in 2019. Um,
I found that
but it was.
album in 2018 because that was the first time I ever saw them.
Mm. But yeah, this album was kind of like on the outside, on the back end of the scene phase of metalcore.
Yeah.
But this album was kind of like that mix between scene and the modern metalcore we know today. And it was really fun. It was a lot of fun to listen to. Bless the Fall at their peak was peak, if
Dude.
that makes sense. It was
I, I,
high as fuck.
I'm so glad I got to hear that album front to back. That was fucking
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
That was incredible.
Favorite song on that album, I'm kind of biased. Carry On featuring Jake Lures of August Burnt Red.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite songs by them.
I'll get to my favorites when we get there, cause like that's another album where it's hard to pick a favorite, but I definitely do have favorites. Anyways, this one's gonna be a controversial pick because the vocalists of this band did get canceled and they did get kicked out. They were also in another band that I really like that is higher up on this list. But then yeah, they left that band, joined this band. The band had to drop this album without them on it after the anyways. This album is Immortal by Lorna Shore, which yeah, that's might be surprising, but honestly, I'm gonna say it. This is I like this album way more than Pain Remains. The only thing that I would say I like more from Pain Remains is the trilogy. Like that's the only thing. But like the guitar work, I feel like on this album, because mainly listened to this album instrumentally because I did not want to support CJ at all. But apparently he doesn't make anything from it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Um, but like I feel like Adam D'Amico's guitar work was like much better on here, and like just like the song structures, because this was before To the Hellfire came out, so like they didn't know like up copy paste, fucking break down here. Like I feel like the songs were more structured. And this is not the last Lorna Shore album on here, and this is not my favorite Lorna Shore album, but the Lorna Shore album that's coming up next is not Pain Remains. It's actually something else. So yeah.
Right. My number 73 is a fairly recent one. It came out last year. Avril Lavigne, Freaks. Uh, God, this album fell down my list, and I don't know, man. It was really infectious to listen to on the first time, but then whenever I was making my list for my top albums of the year last year, it was still on my top 10, but it fell off. I think it fell all the way back down to 5 or 6. I think. Um, but this album just kind of it lost its spark for me. But I do see this band getting big in the future. They have a unique sound to them. They have that techno trap metal mixed with new metal and metalcore together, and it's a really cool sound, really cool mix. And I feel like that's gonna translate well to the scene moving forward.
Yeah.
My favorite track on this album is Overdose. I really love that track. Canvas is also a really good one as well with that saxophone breakdown. That was fun. But yeah, if you haven't heard Everlast yet, they're not a very big band yet. They only have like 80K listeners. If you haven't checked them out, please do. Please do. They're very good.
Anyways, this next one is another album that dropped last year. And it's an album that we failed to mention at all. We just did not mention it, and we really should have, because this album honestly is like worthy of being in the top 10 list. And like I've listened to it recently, and oh god, like I really am pissed that we did not mention it. I'm
Yeah.
obviously referring to 156 Silence. People watching this album was just so fucking good. Like I am pissed. I'm really pissed that we did not, like, I don't know how we didn't talk about it at all. Like god, like we really should have, because like dude, honestly, Better Written Villain is probably now, like looking at it now, is probably one of my favorite choruses of 2024. Like that is such a fucking good song, and like how the song like doesn't end on a breakdown is fucking amazing, because they could have, but they didn't, and I feel like that really helped that song be like honestly one of my favorite songs of 2020. But yeah, I feel like 156 Silence spent a lot of time trying to find their sound, and they finally found it. I just watched a pod or interview from them, um, where they actually talked about how like their guitarists really pushed for them to write chorus. So, and I'm really glad that they did because it obviously really helped them.
Man, bro, same here. 72 is 156 silence.
Oh wow, that's
People
crazy.
watching. Yeah, I was trying to move it around, trying to make it higher, but I feel
You
like
know
where
it's
they just
funny?
found this new sound, it's like,
I just
huh?
flip flopped that with another album. I didn't even know because I was just like, you know what? I'd put this
But yeah, this album was sick. You already mentioned everything I want to say, so
one.
yeah, these guys are gonna go far with this new sound, I believe.
Hopefully this I think they will. But anyways, the next album is another debut album, and it is from an internet project. One of the members is a YouTuber, and the other is in well, actually, a lot of bands, a lot of bands. I'm referring to Termina Dysphoria. I actually really like this album more than Soulology because one thing I will say about Soulology, it's really good, but there was way too many features. Like there was like that's kind of like the thing that for me is like gets me worried about doing features because for me it's like there was too many and like it didn't really hurt the album, but for me like I feel like it was more unique where it was just hearing Andy and Nick and yeah, in my opinion. But my favorite songs on this album was Fade Away, The Abyss, Suffocate, Lucid, and yeah.
Very good, very good, very good. You are gonna love my next one, bro, because I re-listened to it recently.
All right.
It's not glue; it's a different shade of blue.
Oh yeah.
Probably a shock to you, I know. No, I listened to this album again recently, and I wish they'd go back to this. I'm
I
sorry,
know.
this is a
Exactly.
way better sound than the new album.
Thank you.
Hot take, I
Exactly.
know, but
No,
this
it's
is a
not.
way better sound, bro. Because like I listened to the new album again, and I was like, dude, the only good track, really, if you really think about it, is "Suffocate."
Yeah, it's really because of pop.
Whereas this album has a good track
I
everywhere you
know.
look.
I
There's
know.
more structure to it.
The songs
There's
are
more. I feel
longer.
like there's more passion to it. You know what I'm saying? And there's actually substance in the lyrics. That's why I like this album more. So
A
yeah,
serpent's
definitely
touch.
71, different
I'll
shade of
talk
straight,
about.
shade of
I'll,
blue.
I'll talk about. I have that album super high, super high.
Of course, you're a knock loose simp,
Well,
but
it kind of deserves that over all their other albums.
that's
Like
fair, I suppose.
I honestly think that's their best work, but I'll get into it later. Well, I mean, their EP was pretty good too.
If
It's
we're
like,
I was about to say if we were gonna count EPs, then
but there's definitely their best
Tear in the
album.
Fabric of Life, Tear in the Fabric of Life would clear if
Yeah,
we were counting
I wish they
EPs, but
do a mix between those two sounds because those were perfect.
yeah,
But anyways, moving on. This is another. I don't even know if you can call these guys a hardcore band because they're not really. And they dropped this album in 2020, and I feel like this is honestly their best album. And then they decided to change their sound again. They like changed their sound a lot. This band is Code Orange with their album Underneath. This album is so fucking good. Like I wish they'd do this sound again. Like Swallowing the Rabbit Hole was the perfect opening track. That song just smashes you right in the face. And like, oh my god. And then yeah, there's a lot of good songs on this album. I really I like, and also like I listened to this album the day it came out, which was the day COVID started. So this song, like this album, like hit different. It hit different. Like I feel like that kind of helped them in a little bit. But anyways, also they were like one of the first bands to do like the live stream concerts, which was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, my favorite songs were Autumn and Carbine, obviously Swallowing the Rabbit Hole, The Easy Way, Sulfur Surrounding, and Who I Am.
Um, my next one, number 70.
Alright.
Shokron, Ethereal. Um, you know, finally going into the gent stuff now.
My next album is
Shokron's one of
an album.
Shokron's one of those bands that, the main thing you look for is the guitar writing, because Dimitri is an absolute beast and he shows on this album. But this is my least favorite album by them, and it's not because it's bad. It's not bad, of course. It made this list. It's really really good. But I feel like this kind of lost a bit of the sound that made them fun, but it's probably because they changed vocalists for this album. So, I mean, their new album was a bit of a comeback. Duet was a comeback album, but this album was very very fun to listen to on first listen. It still is today. I believe this was the album. I might be wrong because I haven't listened to Exodus in a long time. But this might be the album that actually introduced clean vocals to their sound, which was something that was not a thing on their first album, of course. I don't think, anyway. I don't remember.
Bro,
But yeah.
completely off topic, but have you ever fucking slammed your fingers in the door? It hurts so bad. I did that earlier and my finger still hurts.
I mean, yeah, you crushed it with a car door.
No, it
What
wasn't
do you
a
expect
car
to
door.
happen?
Well,
What was it?
that was my front door. I was gonna go like pull the doorknob to close the door, and like I accidentally got my finger stuck in the door. I was just like like it was like swinging from the momentum of me like pulling it. Like I went to go like touch the knob, but yeah, and it hurts really bad. But yeah, I did crush my fingers in the car door when I was like 7 years old. Um, but yeah, that it fucking hurts. Like this finger in particular. I really hope I don't think I broke it because it probably would have been in a lot more pain. I can still move, but it fucking
Hmm.
it hurts. Anyways, back on topic. We are gonna be talking about the next album on my list, which is from Bela Maya. This album might to a lot of people because it's from their new vocalist, Matriarch. I really like this album
Mm.
because it's like that gent metalcore stuff, and like I really like it, and
Mm.
um this album, and this is not the only Veil of my album. I have one more, and it's also from the Lucas era. Um, probably know what one it is,
Yeah,
but
which one
anyway,
it is?
yeah. And then this one, my favorites were Leaboo, Ellie, um, obviously fucking song that everybody knows. Where is it? Misaka, um, and then
Mi-
Masika,
It's Mikasa, bro.
whatever. Fuck you.
Oh
But yeah.
fuck. All right. So my next one is an interesting one. It is a Marcus Vick album, but it's not an event animate. It's
You mean?
Aviana Polarize. Yeah, people seem to forget, that are event anime fans, that he was actually the vocalist of Aviana for two albums. Actually, no, I think he was it for one. I don't think he was on Epicenter. No, he wasn't. That was Joel. My bad. Um, but no, this was kind of the introduction to the scene for Marcus, I believe. I don't think he was in another band before this one. I might be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But this album kind of it wasn't their best album. I have another album in mind that's better, but um this album kind of brought out a mix of, you know, ambience mixed with heavy um metalcore, and it's very progressive, it's very genty, it's very fun, very riffy, all the adjectives. And it's
Bow wow.
super fun to go back to and listen to even today. So, yeah, Polarize.
Also, since we're doing the back and forth now for the top 10, I think we should list them. Like, I'll go first, and then yeah. But anyway, also because I just want to make a video for. So
Mm.
yeah. Anyways, the next album is from a technically local band, but they have blown past the fucking local scene. Like they're probably the biggest band out of Massachusetts, and they're very local to me. Like they're next town over local. And this is I actually got to meet them when they released this album in their hometown. Well, technically it's only the vocalist's hometown, but whatever. I actually know, wait, because I think the bassist said that he's also from this place. But anyways, this band has a lot of albums on this list. In fact, one of their albums is like I think it's like top 10. Anyways, I am talking about Ice Nine Kills. Welcome to Horrorwood, and yeah, I I honestly used to like Silver Scream one more, but the more I listen to this album, like I really fucking love it. Which like it's like hard because like some parts are a little cringe. Like I love Hip to Be Square, obviously because of fucking American Psycho. Like I literally fucking have a Patrick Bateman pop vinyl right here, and it's not gonna show. Wait, okay there. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, I feel like I really like their older sound, especially when they had JD, because JD was JD. But I also really love Dane Sugarman's guitar work on here, like on Assault and Batteries, Funeral Arrangements, Take Your Pick featuring Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse, like fucking sick. And then Ex Mortis, and then also the bonus track, um, Meet and Greet. That song is pretty fucking cool. Welcome to Horror with the title track. Honestly, every song on this album I really enjoy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell
Hell yeah.
yeah.
All right. Um, this next one from your boy, is going to be, um, God, I accidentally closed out the list, so I'm gonna have to pre-open it. Hold on one second. One second. Ah, got it. It's the red jumpsuit apparatus, but don't you fake it.
Okay, well that's the one with face down, right?
Yes, I believe yes. Yep. That was another album I grew up on.
That
Not
was
much more to say there. It's an album that I bumped in elementary school even. Like I listened to this album a lot back then,
the only
and
reason
in
I'm
the
going.
car my mom would listen to it.
Only reason I'm going is because I remember this one time Bryce was over and he was singing face down and it was not good. It was not good. I was like, stop ruining this song. This song is a fucking
Do
um.
you feel better now?
I actually also heard that song in Saints Row 2. Um,
Yeah.
it's a banger. That's how I discovered them. But
Willow.
anyway, anyways,
Come here.
next album on my list is another album from Darko. It's the album that I was talking about earlier. It is Oni. Yeah, I really like this album. It had Looking Glass, Hyperkill, uh, fucking Rosanna's Fingers, uh, Evolving, which is honestly one of my favorite Darko songs. Step Up, Bitch. It's that Darko shit. And then fucking Sheldon G fucking raps and then goes right into the breakdown. And then Anna featuring Taylor
Special guest
Barber.
appearance.
And
Special guest
then.
appearance from Mikey, my cat. He just kind of ran away though. Hey,
And then they had Come Home featuring Rory Rodriguez from Dayseeker. I don't like Dayseeker, but good on them.
damn, you're crazy.
I don't care. I hate fucking. Well, no, actually, no. I do like one album, which was, and it's not on this list, but it's Sleep Top. That album, but I'm not the. But I do respect Rory's.
But okay, sorry, I was trying to distract a cat from jumping on the woman's desk. Apologize. That's wild that you speak about Dayseeker because their recent album is my next one.
Whoa,
Up.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Hold on.
I summoned them.
This cat is getting annoying. Dark Sun. Sorry. Dark Sun is the next one on the list. This cat's getting fucking annoying, bro.
I don't.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like to each their own, I suppose. You know, I like the vibey shit. You know,
Not a fan.
sometimes. You know,
Well, I mean, it
so like,
depends on the band because, like, I feel like Diamond Contra kind of does like some similar stuff, like on Faded and on Clickbait, like did that. But I don't know for some reason I never really. I really did like Sleep Talk the album. My opinion, better.
that's fair. I mean, it's later on my list. So
Anyway, anything?
nope.
Oh, that's it. You don't have a favorite song?
Oh, sorry. I thought I said it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep this cat off of Kenzie's desk because she's trying to play a game and she's getting frustrated. My favorite song, by the way, was Homesick.
All right. Anyways, I'll just this band is also only making a one-time appearance, and it's a band that I actually checked out their most recent album, and I was surprised that I liked it because this was the only album that I liked from this band for a while. This is like a weird band. They're like an alternative post-hardcore indie rock band. I don't even know what to tell you, but this album is Glue by the band Boston Manor. And yeah, I really like this album. Like honestly, I like the whole thing, but my favorite songs are "Everything Is Ordinary," "Ones and O's," "Plasticine Dreams," and wait, where is it? Where's that song I like? What it's called? Oh, only one. Uh, but yeah.
That's fair. You're gonna hate me for how low I put this one. Number 67, I think it is, right? Number 66.
I don't know.
It is The Devil Wears Prada, Color Decay.
Do you want to fight? Want to fight?
It's not their best album. I refuse to say it is. It's not their best album.
Let's see what my fucking list. Actually, my list says you're right. I think. Yeah, it does.
Nah,
Okay,
man,
go
it's still
on.
a great album, don't get me wrong, but it's like I don't know. I don't maybe it's because I grew out of them because they're another band that I kind of went through middle school with, you know. So
Yeah.
like maybe it's because I grew out of them, but this album doesn't connect with me as much as their old shit.
Okay, well, I have another album on this. I have Color Decay on my list, obviously, but I have another album on here that's higher than that. So, anyways, I gotta go back to where I was. That it. Okay, and uh, my next pick from a band. This is their debut album. They have a female vocalist. They're a hardcore, melodic hardcore band. So that probably gives it away. It is Dying Wish with their first album, Fragments of a Bitter Memory. Don't worry, this is not the only album, which they only have one other album. But yeah, that album will be later on this list. But at first I wasn't really a big fan of this band because I saw them live with Code Orange and like Emma sounded like shit. I'm just gonna say, which sucked because I really liked the songs on this album, and Like it wasn't until their new album and they dropped Torn from Your Silhouette where I went back and checked out this album and I really did like them. And I'm yeah, I've seen them again and they were much better. I was so happy and I got to meet Emma and I was like, okay, well, I was really impressed with you guys. But yeah, my favorite songs of this album are Cowards Feed, Cowards Bleed, Imminent Thirst, Hollow by Affliction, which is featuring the vocalist Warren Haynes, which is how I actually got introduced to them. Fragments of a Bitter Memory. Honestly, I like this whole. This next album, the fucking.
Right. My next one is That's the Alexandria Stand Up and Scream. This album is another album that kind of got me into metalcore. The first song I ever heard, I don't know if I can remember what it was. I think it was a prophecy. I think it was a prophecy. I don't remember. It was one song off the top. That's all I know. Not the American Average would be my next guess for that, but this album was. But this album, I mean, it was it. I feel like it defines scene core.
It's
If we're
the
being
best
honest.
crabcore album.
Oh yeah, but it kind of defined their sound at the time, and it was a genre defining release, and I think it was definitely a big triumph for the genre.
I
But at the same time, it's like it sucks that they're not using that sound anymore.
also my vocal teacher did a song with them live. Fucking crazy. I did not know that. He was like, "Oh hey, look at this." I was like, "Oh shit." Anyways, my that album is later on my list, but anyways, my next pick is from Doll Boys, the Doll Boy, the Doll Guy, Mr. Daddy Doll Guy. So, Humanity's Last Breath with their latest album, Ashen, which I actually have signed by them on vinyl. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this. It's fucking Humanity's Last Breath. It's all. It will
Hey,
make you get your pants.
got
But yeah, and Live Breath is, or wait, yeah, Leviathan, the fucking, I cannot,
Labyrinthian.
yeah, God, um, 'cause they just have fucking, anyways, yeah, that is probably one of my favorite Thal riffs of all time, like, oh, shit goes hard, especially live. Especially, like, if they're going on tour right now in America, if you don't fucking see them, fuck you, because they're amazing live.
I feel you. Oh my goodness, we're getting into the nitty gritty, aren't we?
Yeah.
Where are we at? Number 63. Born of Osiris. Tomorrow We Die Alive. This was the first album I think without uh, what the fuck's his name? Fuck, I can't remember his name now. Fuck, guitarist.
I don't know.
Shit, Jason. Jason Richardson. There you go. And this album gets a lot of hate, but I quite enjoyed it. I don't know what the hate's all about, but I quite enjoyed it. Um, it brought a more techno-y sound to it, and I thought that was cool. Joe actually got to shine a little bit on that synthesizer. So like I felt like it brought a new layer of their sound to their sound. Um, Songs like Illusionist, Divergency, um, Aeon 3, Machine, which is the most popular
Oh
song on
yeah,
that album,
that's the
are
only song I know
definitely
by them.
mm, are definitely songs that when I think about Born of Osiris and their current sound, those are songs that I go to first.
my next album is the 2023 album. And I think this is the only album, man. Which honestly, there's another album from that came out in 2020. Yeah, just that should be on this list. But this album, it's really emotional because this album came out after their guitarist passed away. Unfortunately, probably gives it away. Obviously, I'm talking about Polaris and their album, Fatalism. Um, yeah, I really like this album. I liked it so much I bought it I think I pre-ordered it on vinyl. The singles, I like them a lot. Uh, yeah, I I really like this album, and I like a lot of their stuff. I like the last album they did, which yeah, I was debating putting it on this list, but I just like this album more because it's more emotional for me, especially because they lost Ryan's to R.I.P. We have a lot of fucking people who died on this list. Really sad. Will not be the last.
It's wild. That album's also. That was my next pick.
What the fuck?
That was my next pick, bro. I have the same belief as you. My favorite track is Dissipate.
Anyways, okay, I guess I get to move on to my next, which is, in my opinion, the best album from this band, which may be debatable. It is "Make Them Suffer: How to Survive a Funeral." Yep.
Okay.
Which is unfortunately their best album because I mean the female vocalist is kind of a piece of trash. But it's hard to like like she had a good voice. Like I'll give her that. But this album was fucking amazing. Like, and that was why I was so excited for their new album because like I thought they were gonna fucking do better, especially with Alex. But I don't think so. I think this album was just so
They have the
fucking.
potential to.
This
They
album
have the
was
potential to, but
so good. Obviously, they had Erase Me, Bones. They had the title track, Soul Decay. Like, oh, this album was so fucking good.
hmm I'm sorry. I'm trying to distract this cat, and it's kind of funny. Okay. Uh, all right. The next album is also a Make Them Suffer album from me, but not the same one. I'm gonna have to go with Worlds Apart. This album, I don't know. It hit, but it didn't hit as much as say How to Survive a Funeral, which is later on my list, and Never Bloom, which I'm surprised you haven't said that one yet.
It's actually not
Uh,
even on my list. It should be,
that's
but
wild. That's wild. I expected that one to be on your list.
it's not an album I really replayed that much because I only checked it out recently when they remastered it.
That's fair, I suppose. But yeah. My favorite track on this one is Power Overwhelming or Uncharted.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
man. I just felt like this was like kind of like the precursor to the current sound, kind of.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like I should have had that album on the list because I actually really did like that album too. But I don't know.
mm,
Anyways, next is the first. Actually, I think there's only one on this list, and it is gonna be might be a little controversial because they've had the same clean with singer who is a guitarist and sings the founder um but and I actually got to meet Taco Bell one time last year. But anyways, this band is actually yeah, this is their first album with their new vocalist. This is Drift by Era. Yeah, I really like this album. I honestly think I could have put it higher because like this album is fucking good. It had Luminance, Irreversible, Skyline, which is like one of their first big songs, other than like um, Hybrid Earth, but Hourglass, Orchard, Drift. Like you notice how I haven't not mentioned in a song because every song on this album was fucking good. Um,
right.
but yeah, this album was so fucking good and it was a good. Like I know people prefer their older vocalists, but JT does a good job.
Right. I feel you. I feel you. I feels you. My next one. I believe we are on number 60, or we're in the 50s now.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck we
I
are.
done did lost the track. Uh,
I'll know when we get to the top 10.
I'm just gonna say we're at 50, 58 or something. Fuck it. Um, I think I think it's fitting to put this one here. Darko with the self-titled album.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's fitting because this, again, as I said before, this album kind of redefined what's fresh in deathcore, man. Especially with a track like Donna, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, you never expect a track like that from this genre, but it's there and it's incredible. Mars Attacks is really good. Pretenders with Ben Dewar, obviously one you want to look at. Uh, Daniel, which features Courtney LaPlante and Johnny Reeves. But that there's a lot of good tracks on this album, so I think it's fitting to put this one here. And Sex, of course.
Sorry, I'm trying to see where we are. 21, 22, 23, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 37. I don't care. I went too fast when I was scrolling.
Come here, Butto.
Anyways, the next album on my list is the first of many albums from Bring Me the Horizon, and it is
First.
actually their this is their debut album, Count Your Blessings. This album again was one of those albums that kind of got me into deathcore because I found Bring Me the Horizon later, and I think like around the Paternal, That's the Spirit era, and obviously Pray for Plagues is kind of like a deathcore classic at this point, but like every single song I'm a fan of. And they randomly were like, you know what? Let's just throw a acoustic here. So that's pretty. But yeah, is a staple of deathcore.
Yeah, I got you. I feel you, feel you, feel you. I feels you. My next one is Fit for a King, Creation Destruction.
Yeah, a lot higher for me.
It's lower because I feel like it's not their refined sound. It's not their best sound.
I know what album you're, but even though I have that album high up, but it's not the highest one.
The reason it's not the highest for me is because it just feels like generic metalcore, man.
True,
Whereas
but
the other album you're thinking of,
it was also their debut album.
it
But
wasn't their debut album, buddy.
wait, but
Descendants was.
on Spotify it shows up first.
Descendants came out in 2011. It was just reduxed, and they just don't have the original version on Spotify.
Super. I always thought that was their debut.
Oh,
Anyways, it was their second.
yeah, no. Descendants came out in 2011, I believe. It's just the original version isn't on Spotify. They reduxed it in 2013 when they got signed to Solid State, I believe.
All right, I have that. Frick you, album one. This is kind of a. I feel like yeah. I think started that. I'm not gonna move. Um, it is The Chosen by Enterprise Earth. But yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Damn. It's
this
wild,
album
actually.
fucking this is their best album, and yeah, um, they have so many. But my favorite, obviously, is gonna be that song is like chef's kiss.
Damn.
What
I expected that one to be higher for you. Fuck.
it should be, but that was another album that I really didn't shift around.
That's fast, suppose. Well, my next one, you mentioned it earlier. It's Era Drift. Um, I mean, you already said everything I want to say about it. Luminous, Irreversible, fucking the title track, Safe Haven. Yeah, there's not much more to say about this album. To make an album with a new vocalist after you released one of the greatest prog metalcore albums ever in Augment, which will be mentioned later. I mean, and to have it be this good, it's deserving to be on this list, definitely. So yeah.
Well, my next album might surprise you because it also should be higher, but there's another really underrated, and I really like. But anyways, this album, I think it might have been my. But anyways, that is Color Decay from The Devil Wears Prada. I feel
Mm.
like it makes that like pop punk perfectly with metalcore, well modern, and yeah, I really like this album. My favorite tracks were Exhibition, Sacrifice, Watchtower, uh, Hallucinate,
Mikey, come here, buddy. My cat's going crazy. Hold on.
You're almost 3 hours into this is gonna be the longest.
Fuck yeah. All right, so come here, Mikey. You want to be on the podcast? Come here, buddo.
But
You got an album you want to talk about, Mikey? Mikey. Mikey, you
I think
son of a bitch.
that's it. Pretty good. The whole
He just kind of disappeared now. That sucks. All right. My next one is Veil of Maya, The Common Man's Collapse. I mean, it's gentcore. You know how much I love my gentcore.
damn.
And it's very fun. It's a very fun release. It's Not Safe to Swim Today kind of defined the genre back in the day in 2008. And then you got that kind of instrumental interludes like Pillars and Wounds, man. Like we need to bring those back, bro. Like,
Yeah,
come on now. Bring back some instrumental interludes. That'd be sick. And entry level Exit Wounds is oddly enough one of my favorite
yeah.
songs by them.
I
But
feel like
yeah,
that was that album also that like mixed in deathcore.
yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's something I was gonna say.
The band is kind of gent, but they're also technically um yeah they're more. But anyways, this is the album actually you talked about earlier. It is Architects, Lost Forever, Lost
Hmm.
Together. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was like a toss up right here between this and Daybreak, but like, which Daybreaker isn't on the list. I put the, other Architects albums, and like, um, but anyways, yeah, I really like this album. I know you said it gets heavy for. This is where they started doing the blends. I'm pretty sure. I think they did it on the album. Yeah, they did do it on the album for with Colors Don't Fade, but this is where they really started doing the bless. Like
Yeah.
on Digger, they did bless multiple times. But yeah, I don't know. I really like this album. Got fucking Grave Digger, like I said. Naysayer, Broken Cross. Um, but this is not my favorite album, and not the last time.
Alrighty. Um, my next is gotta be A Day to Remember. Bad Vibrations.
Oh shit, surprising.
Yes,
I
Bad
do know
Vibrations. It is this album. I
that's a
mean,
good
it was.
album.
I would argue that, yeah, absolutely. This album was very. It was very fun to listen to. Paranoia was different, but I feel like it was a good kind of different. Bullfight was really good.
Yeah, that's underrated.
Um, yeah,
Paranoia,
absolutely.
Paranoia. I don't know why it gets. Actually, that was the
Because
first
it's a
song.
newer sound.
That was the first A Day to Remember song I ever heard. Then I went back and
This cat. I'm sorry. I'm still distracting this cat with the laser and it. It's. Mikey looks like he's about to smack the shit out of her. Sorry. But yeah, I Paranoia was one of my anthems in high school, so gotta mention that one. Where are we at now?
I don't know.
uh like 52.
I haven't been. Anyways,
Near in the top 50, hopefully.
um, anyway, next on the list is the only other album from Warner Shore, and that is Flesh Coffin. The last
Ooh.
album with Tom Barber. I feel like they need to do this sound again because it was like the perfect black and deathcore sound. And it was like more melodic, but it was still also heavy. Honestly, I really like this. They had longer songs than the album, but they weren't extremely long. And the songs that were longer were good. Like Funeral Moon was 5 minutes long, but that song felt like it deserved to be. But nowadays they do like fucking 7 minutes. Get really boring because they're like just like like breakdown, uh, intro, verse, breakdown, chorus, breakdown, chorus, solo, huge breakdown, and then. But anyways, yeah, I really like this.
All right. Mikey just smacked the shit out of Willow. She's still going after the laser too. Sorry. My next pick will probably surprise you a little bit. Number 52 is Eternal Nightmare from Chelsea Grin.
Boom, unless I did. Wait, actually,
I
wait,
could
wait.
probably guess which one you have
I
on your
have,
list. But,
I have it on. Oh no, I do. I have another.
um, obviously, I mean, songs like Hostage speak for themselves. Dead Rose.
Yeah, but
Uh, one that connects with me a lot is Nobody Listened. And one that I really enjoy for the riff is See You Soon. But yeah, it's one of the few deathcore albums that I really enjoy. I mean, not
first
much
one
more to
from
say to
Tom.
it.
It's funny.
Yep.
Wait, we just talked about his last album, first album, another band.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flesh Coffin was last album. Anyways, keeping it rolling with deathcore, we go on Whitechapel Valley. Last time I won this
Whitechapel.
White, but it is the last this style. the ones that I'm putting later are their heavier. No, Ken is not here. Um, which is a shocker because like it was hard to pick what do I like more, Ken or the Valley, because both of them are super fucking good. Like, of Phil obviously being more personal and like obviously being more melodic. Even Metalbird put When a Demon Defiles a Witch in his top 10 masterpiece songs, which is really surprising because I mean it is and it's not because like that song's so emotional, but it's like it was a brand new sound for them doing like the cleans and the heavy at the same time. So yeah, but and my favorite songs on this album were Forgiveness is Weakness, Brimstone, Black Bear, um, Doom Woods, and Forgiveness is Weakness. And this is another album that I got to hear
You
front to
said
back.
forgiveness is weakness twice.
Whatever. I got to hear. I mean, When a Demon Defiles a Witch. Um, but yeah, I got to hear this album front to back live, and then I got to meet Phil Bozeman, which
I think we're at 50 now. Maybe, possibly.
maybe.
Might be at 50 now.
Anyways, go on.
Pussy. Okay. Man, look. I'm just gonna say it. Phineas the God Machine. One of the genre defining Christian metalcore albums. Anybody who's into Christian metalcore, I mean, the first album you think of, one of the first albums you think of is this album, and it's their most favorite song is on this album. I Am the Lion. Of course, you've also got a kick-ass intro. Um, Bad Blood, Crowns, fucking Pendulum. I mean, there's not much more you can really say. You know what I'm saying? Like this album defined Christian metalcore, and I feel like that this is one of the albums that really made it that part of the subgenre big. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So you know, the God
Anyway,
Machine has got to be number 50 for me. Number 50.
we're already 3 hours in, so this is already our longest podcast episode. But anyways, the next album on my list is from Veil of Maya, and it's the other one. It's False Idol. Yep. Not a single bad song on the record. Like that's all I gotta say. And it's their best one with it's the best one they have with Lucas, in my opinion. And like I wish they continued this sound because as much as I liked um Mother, and actually that was my 2023 albums of the year, even though I would switch it to Super Bloom from Silent Planet, which is later on the list. Yeah, yeah, I really like this album, and I think it's my 2017 album of the year, so yeah.
Very fair, very fair. I think I'm gonna stick to Veil of Maya with this and go with Mother, as you mentioned.
What?
Uh I don't I'm picking Mother because of the comeback factor. They came back with an album that good, if that makes sense. And I enjoyed it.
I
It
did too.
was I feel like it had some of Lucas's best vocals on it.
Yeah, true.
Um I think it's his best vocal performance out of any album they've done.
Yeah,
With him.
I'd agree.
Mark's guitar work is otherworldly.
Yeah.
Um, and it's short and sweet, very fun. It's Veil of Maya, man, and I feel like they found a way to make the I say new as if Lucas hasn't been in the band for 10 years now. The newer sound work. So I think that is the perfect place to put Mother at 49, just inside the top 50. Even though it was in my top four, I think my top five actually for 2023. I think it's definitely worth putting there now, 2 years later.
Wait. So you don't you don't have False Idol on the list?
Oh, it's further down.
Okay, okay. Good, good.
It's further down.
I was gonna say
No, no. I haven't even mentioned Matriarch yet. Matriarch's
yeah.
my favorite album
Yeah.
by them.
Okay, I was gonna
So,
say.
and,
Anyways, moving on. This is a debut album. Wait, no, it's not a debut album. It's a debut album for the vocalist. But it is a band that lost their vocalist because he's apparently a piece of shit. But apparently, I don't know if that's entirely true because their band is still around. Anyways, this band is an Australian band, and this album dropped in 2020. And this album is A Quiet Place to Die by Alpha Wolf.
You sound more British than
I
Australian, bro.
know, I know. Um,
Australian.
Australian. Yeah, this album was fucking amazing. Not, not a bad song. I'm gonna stop with the Australian British accent. Anyway, my favorite songs on
Yeah,
the
British
album
accent.
were
Like
uh
Australian.
A Quiet Place to Die, Creep. Like honestly, there's not a song I don't like on the album. Akudama, Acid Romance, Rotten Peace, Bleed for You, Ultra. I honestly think this album was better than their new album, which is why I put this on the list and not their new album.
Okay, 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 okay. Um, an album that's very heavily slept on is my next one. Currents, I Let the Devil In.
Wait, that's not an album. That's an EP.
It is an album. It's 10 songs.
I
Brother,
let
it's an
the
album.
Yeah, but five of the songs are instrumentals.
Oh, that's right. Fuck. You're right.
So
Fuck. Okay.
technically, yeah.
Shit. I
Oh.
forgot that. My bad. I'm a poser. I apologize. I meant to
Ooh,
say Life Lost.
ooh.
I meant to
Okay.
say Life Lost. My bad.
I
God,
was
I
gonna,
look like an asshole now.
I was gonna say, what are you fucking talking about? That's someone with
I
um
forgot.
Into Despair.
Bad. My bad. I saw
Anyway,
Currents and I saw Currents. I listened to Despair today. Forgot that that wasn't an album. That's an
I
EP.
actually listened to
Anyways,
that album from them though today because it came on in my recommended songs, and like I realized the mix isn't as bad as I thought it was. It
my
was
debut
definitely,
album
yeah.
is on my list, and it's because I really resonate with the lyrics a lot, especially anxiety. Uh, Especially recently with anxiety. So
Oh wait,
not much more
actually
to
no.
say. I love the lyrics for it,
I
and
like
I love
the
the instrumental.
album after that more because
And
I
it
feel like
brought damn it.
the production on that one could have been better, but it was also their debut.
Yes. But this was also the first album for one of the bigger bands in metalcore, so
Yeah.
there's that too.
Anyway, this next album you mentioned earlier, it is from a scene-core metalcore band, and it is Bless the Fall with Hollow Bodies. I got to see this album front to back live, and my favorite songs on the album are You Were a Cowboy, You Were You Were a Crown but You're No King, Hollow Bodies, Young Bloods is probably my favorite song. Yeah, because of that breakdown. Um, but anyways, yeah. Bless the Fall, and I'm glad they're back because I kept like I was like, oh, this album's so good. When are they coming back? Or like, did they break up? Or like, what the fuck? So yeah, and yeah, I got to see them play the whole thing.
The next album for me is Slave to Nothing by Fit for a King.
Whoa,
This album, Gents. I'm kidding.
Dent,
This album really
round,
it brought a different sound from them because they have a new clean vocalist. They wanted to implement him a bit more. Ryan's vocals were definitely different on this one as well. Um, this album did actually have a feature on it. It just doesn't show. It's Matt from For Today, which isn't around anymore.
They have two features.
Uh,
They
mhm.
have Jake Lurk.
No, you're thinking of Death Grip, bro.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Slaves to Nothing. But Yeah, not much more to say. This album's really fun. I loved it.
And I got to hear them play 5 to Nothing live, which they barely play live anymore. Pretty sick. Fortunately, I couldn't go in the pit because I got almost knocked unconscious during the Devil Wears Prada. That's fun. Anyways, here is the second and last from Era, which is their self-titled album, which I think is their best album personally. But I don't know, that's hard because Drift was augmented. I'm more of a fan of G, but this was my 2020. 2021 was a really good year. It's like Silent Planet dropped an album that year. Ice Nine Kills dropped their album. Spirit Box dropped their album. Like so many fucking way too.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, like this album, perfect, perfect. Like there's not
Check,
one song I would skip.
check Discord, bro.
All right. But anyways, uh, all right. Um, let's speed up the list.
No, I'm saying like let's. I think we should probably cut it short here and then do part two later. Cause like I didn't expect it to take this long, and I gotta get up early tomorrow.
All right. Well, what number? I'll count later. And then we'll just do top. I mean top 100 part two.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Alrighty.
this stream was already long. So yeah, if anybody's still watching, and yeah, it's a good episode.
Bye bye.